Hello and welcome to Baited Expectations. I'm piebypie and I have with me Brittleknee, KittenCatNoodle and Velyna. And for this episode, we are delighted to invite our special guest, LocalIdentity, aka that Path of Building fork guy, onto the show. We'll be talking about all things Path of Exile and Path of Building and whatever else may come up. So welcome to the show, LocalIdentity. Please introduce yourself.
Hey everyone, I'm the PoB Fork guy created the fork, what was it, like a year? God, it's been a year and a half now, when some stuff in PoB wasn't being updated to help out the community pretty much, and I was bored. I've been playing PoE for a couple of years, and been like stuck here ever since, playing pretty much every league.
Nice. All right, we'll probably ask you lots more questions as we get going, but before we get stuck into it, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, follow the podcast, whatever it is that the button is on whatever platform you're looking at right now. Be great, just so you don't miss the next episode. And let's catch up with everyone else. What have you guys been up to lately in PoE or beyond? Let's start with Brittleknee.
So I've decided to turn around because I am a notorious challenge procrastinator. I usually will be 8 to 10 challenges done until the last 2 weeks of the league, and then I scramble frantically to get everything done. So I've decided to turn that leaf around and actually work on my challenges a little bit earlier this time rather than got the toucan yesterday. Hopefully, I think I'm 28 or 29. So hopefully the 36 done next week. That'd be really cool. But I really enjoyed the invitational conditional ones. The ones where it's like, hey, why don't you kill the feared with 100% AoE? That was spicy and I enjoyed it.
Sweet. Noodle, what have you been up to lately?
Well, work has been pretty crazy and stuff, but I got my Exsanguinate build up to 92 and was kind of like, I want to do something else. So I decided to make a new build, taking a bite of Brittleknee's cake. That's not a phrase, but suggestion to try some builds since I don't really have any specific goals. I don't really like the challenge rewards this league, not gonna lie, they're not my thing. So I wasn't feeling motivated to do that personally, but I decided to try some different builds. So I was thinking about it and I was like, you know what I love? Gloom Shrine. You know what's
Nice.
Gloom Shrine? Profane Bloom. Let's do some occultist shenanigans. So I'm doing a Spell Slinger actually with Creeping Frost. So Power Siphon and then Spell Slinger, Creeping Floss. No. Oh god, now I'm just thinking about flossing. The dance, both of them.
No.
And now I'm thinking
I'm
about
sorry.
Ninja on New Year's Eve and you've just ruined my morning.
I was in such a good mood. What have I done?
Oh.
Creeping Frost, and then also with the updated Vol Cold Snap. And it's actually really, really good. I thought it would just be really good at clearing because of Profane Bloom, but it's kind of banging with bosses. So I just got to level 80, got my 6-link Chevron's wrappings earlier. So yeah, I'm really excited to see how that pans out. I'm really pleasantly surprised because it was basically stemmed from I want to make things explode, which is, it's a good foundation, but it's not always the whole build.
That's a good priority.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So just having a lot of fun with that. Shatter and Profane Bloom.
Sign me
It's
up.
just a lot.
I need to
It's
see
great.
footage
So
of this
good.
build. I
It's
want to see
literally
it go.
my two favorite sounds in the same build. So well
It's
done.
my two favorite things. Yeah, exactly. It's like my two favorite just aesthetic gameplay feel good things. And it's way better, honestly, than I thought it would be. I hadn't even had the Chevron's wrappings until this point. So and the cluster jewels are super cheap, unlike everything I was gonna do for Flame Wall. So that's nice
Really?
too. Yeah, I bought the bases of cold damage over time 4 passives for 3 chaos each.
Dang you.
Compared to 2x each for Flame Wall.
Oh.
So a little different, just a little bit cheaper.
I mean, just a little.
Just a little,
Only,
yeah.
99% cheaper. It's not that much.
Yeah, so that's obviously a nice touch as well. So now with the new build going well, I'm feeling better, having a lot of fun with it.
Before I ask Val what she's been up to, I just need to confess that until just then, I have genuinely forgot what character I was playing this league.
Wow.
Who
And
am
what
I?
character are you playing this league?
I'm just the facilitator of this podcast for today. I am absolutely not going to comment on builds.
Okay.
All right, Val, what have you been up to?
Well, Poe-wise, I have pooped 2 shavs and spent, we're just throwing it at 2,100 fusings to link the last shavs, which I gave up on and bought a linked shavs because it didn't link. Because I was making a reap build and like, it's just okay. I gotta try Unleash with it instead of Spell Echo. It might be better, but I might have to get some AoE to do that. I think like the Reap build is an on-hit Reap with cold on hit. It's like 50% converted and it does like 4.4 million damage when it's all done. However, I'm like level 79 and all I want to do is like T16, old tomatoes, you know, and I don't really give a shit about leveling right now. I just don't care. So I went back to Stormbrand and it's going really well. And Monday I'm gonna have to make a HC Zerker because we hit a sub goal. And I have to use Aspect of Carnage, so wish me luck, boys and girls. And I finished Resi 8. That was another sub goal. We played it this week.
Resident
an
Evil
incredible
8,
game.
for those who don't know Velisms.
Yeah, Resi. People know that's not a Velism. People call it Resi all over the place.
I've never heard it outside of your stream.
All over the place, you know,
All
twitch.tv
over the
/ Velyna.
And Twitter / Adequate Velyna. Okay. All right. People call it Resi. It's not just me, but anyways, Resident Evil
Okay,
Village.
fine.
I just finished it.
All
right,
we're gonna clarify that it's Resident Evil for the Path of Exile only players listening to this stream.
Okay. All right. So that was the sub goal. I thought that I would completely puss out and not even complete it. And I completed it on Thursday. And I actually want to play it again because it was more action than horror, but the horror was really incredible. And my heart rate jumped up to I think we got to 160, 170 a few times out of pure fear. It was glorious. I just want to spoil it, but I won't. I just say play it and it looks beautiful and it's not overly buggy. So
You gotta break that record
which one?
of 200 or
wait,
whatever.
by 200?
Yeah.
I know, it wasn't scary enough apparently for 200. Apparently it wasn't scary. I got like a 200 heart rate when I fought Gale in Dark Souls 3.
Good on
It was
you.
not
I
even
came in
scary.
to watch you and I didn't know what the numbers were, and it wasn't until I came back another day and somebody mentioned your heart rate and I was like, oh, it's not FPS. Okay.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm a highly anxious person, so my heart rate, it rests anywhere from, let's say, the regular 77 to like a regular 120. Okay. 120 is also regular for me.
I want to try
So-
doing that like heart rate thing because I'm also an anxious person. It would
really
be interesting. All right,
Yeah.
Local, what have you been playing lately?
God, a bunch of things. I've been I'm on like my 4th build now because I haven't been able to lock one down that I've been enjoying. I started off with like Vortex Occultist. That was
He's a
really
goodie.
smooth.
Mhm.
And then I didn't like the 1 second cooldown on Vortex. I felt it was like too slow, so I changed to Burning Arrow. That was a mistake. The same thing
Oh.
as with the damn cluster jewels, where they were
Yeah.
like 2x each. I was like, I'm poor. I can't do this. Switch again to a cast on crit VD build. I did that like last league, and I can clear pretty much everything on that on like a 5 link. No like feared or anything like that. And then I was gonna change to a cast-wall channeling VD build. Pretty much I just really like VD as a skill. been doing that, and I've been also playing Returnal because that came out like a week or so ago on PS5, and it's been really fun. Haven't
It
beaten
looks
it yet.
really good.
Yeah,
You
there's
have a
so many.
PS5.
I
I
do.
know.
Got one pretty early on, actually. I sniped it within like a minute of it coming up for it, like all sold out. So I was
I've
quite
given
lucky.
up. Yeah.
Who did
at
you
this
use
point.
to
Speed.
like which retailer did you use?
Big W, I think.
Oh, Big W. Nice. This is
I
the
think-
first
oh, no, it
time
was
we've
Amazon.
ever had an Aussie on the show with me. That feels so good.
It's true. Oh.
Yeah. Somebody like my Twitter feed is always rife with people talking about the availability of PlayStation stuff, and somebody recently like took a screenshot from like EB or whatever it is. One of them has like a thing where you can see how many people are looking at that item at a time, and it's like still 2,500 people. This item is hot.
Yeah.
Ugh. Also, I would like to formally apologize once again for spreading the good word of Flame Wall, because now all fire damage over time builds must suffer.
It's not just Flame Wall though. It's that damn Dirty Dan and his amazing, not an auto bomber, 5 million ignite per second build. Okay. It's also that stupidly delicious build that costs 8,000 exalts. And can I just play it? I really want to try it out.
You should just have like
I really wanna try that
a
out.
rent a build kind of situation where you could just like
Yeah.
pop in, test it, then pop out and be like, I played it. I didn't have to do the 800 or whatever X it was, but I
like test
tested
driving
it.
a car.
Yeah.
Take it out,
Yeah.
a couple maps, I'll bring it back.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Let me just respect myself for a couple maps. Try it. Give it, Rent a build service. Oh my god. That I don't know if they'd let you do that.
No, they wouldn't because you
How
can't.
much are you renting for?
You can't like. How
do you
would
mean?
you do that?
Discord.
Yeah, if you get enough regrets, like if you're the same class or whatever, you could probably get enough regrets. You'd probably
Or
still
you
have to
do
be
it
the same
like
ascendancy.
when you used to play with your siblings and you just wouldn't plug in the controller. Someone just like streams their build and you pretend you're playing it.
That's
I'm
cute.
really doing it. I'm really doing it. Wow.
Look at you go. Wow.
Oh man. Yeah, that's also contributing to the insane ignitey the price. Oh, that build is something, man. It's special. This Dirty Dan makes these ethical builds. Disgusting and amazing.
Yeah.
Wait, what makes them ethical though?
Because it's not just like, okay, really? When it comes down to something being ethical, it's like, oh, you're giving yourself damage? Unethical. Okay. That's basically it. All right, you're not allowed to have anything good or else it's unethical.
But you said it was unethical, ethical build, and I was like,
it's ethical because it's HC and it's like got really good defenses and it still does like mega dam. Although it should be unethical because I think it only takes like 4 damage class like point. It's so it's a bit
okay.
It's riding the
I've
edge.
been
It's riding the edge.
living under. You know what? Like, I think I'm Patrick Star, and I pop out for the podcast, and then I go back in. Like, that's legit my life, and I have no idea about this build.
The starfish.
Yeah.
Yeah, from
Okay.
SpongeBob, Vel.
What other
Listen.
Patrick Star is there?
Isn't there like a makeup guy named Patrick
There is a
Star?
makeup guy, but
There's a
Is
makeup
there
guy
a
named
makeup
Patrick
guy
Star.
called Patrick Star?
Yeah, so I had
yes.
to ask. And so I'm like, the starfish or that guy? I don't know. I only heard about him recently. And when I first looked up Patrick Star, I got the starfish. I'm like, no.
I mean, maybe he lives under a rock. I don't know.
I think he's got 2 R's in his name or something. I don't know, man.
There's the Jeffree Star guy.
I know Jeffrey's
He's a hot
not
topic.
definitely not that one. Definitely not that
No.
one. No. It's another makeup YouTube person.
We could talk
For sure.
about makeup YouTubers after the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I'm just saying I was confused at which Patrick Star you were.
Okay, so my point is, I ceased to exist for the last 2 weeks, and now I'm back. Hi.
Hi. How's it been going?
I don't think I've opened Path of Exile in that time. So
Okay.
I've been following a lot of the topics. I'm aware that some people quit streaming the game, and some other people had big intense discussions about that, and some third people had videos that they responded to regarding that, and there was a discussion about like how healthy streaming / playing Path of Exile / both of those things are, and I kind of think of it as like a Venn diagram. Yui, Twitch, the middle, and that's a whole thing that we can talk about in a little bit. I'm also aware that curses can get some interesting responses out of the community. Let me re-say this, because I went into some voice chats with some Americans and they were like, curses? And I was like, cursors. Cursors. I'm talking about cursors.
Cursors.
Okay?
Cursors.
No, cursors.
No, cursors. Cursors. All right, it's all about the cursors.
Cursors.
Cursors. Exactly. That's how you say it. Cursors. Okay.
Cursors.
It's basically
Wait, no.
CRRSRRS. Cursors.
Cursors. Yeah, there you go. You got it. That's the American for you. Cursors.
Okay, so I'm aware of what's been happening in the community. I just haven't been playing the game.
Sometimes, the game, it'll be there again tomorrow.
For realsies, though, I'm probably going to restart Solo Self-Found once I've finished my job and have time to stream. So basically, I'm in the last week. As of Monday, next week is my last week in my job, and then I'm going to be a full-time streamer. Yay! Kidding.
Nice.
And I will probably have a lot more time for gaming and lots of other creative pursuits. I've got lots of plans. You can't see them, but they're on the... what's this thing behind me? The cupboard? There's like really big Post-it notes.
I can't tell. It's like angelic back there.
You can't even see what they're looking at right now, which is fucking white light.
Dude, I can't tell what's going on in your other camera. It's just like the room is getting brighter and brighter. Is there a searchlight on you, Pi? Like, what's going on?
It's this. So those windows are north facing, so they like get the whole day's worth of the sun. And
it's like
because it's winter, it's more that way than that way. So, for those of you listening, I'm talking about horizontal versus like overhead. Yeah, I can't fix it. I'm sorry. I could close the window, but I like having some sunlight in my room because
it looks great. It looks great. It looks like you're in a cloud sometimes.
It's angelic.
Every once in a while, it's like, yeah.
One day we'll host the show and it will be nighttime for me and it'll be daylight for you guys, and you'll just be like,
I'd be dead.
y'all are glowing. Okay, let's move on to the show. All right, so we have some questions for local identity that we've written out. We got some from all walks of social media. We got some from my brain, and we got some from the rest of the show. So for real basic stuff, if you've never heard of Path of Building or the Path of Building fork, how would you describe what it is and how it's used? Go. Local.
Nice easy question. Path of Building, the third-party tool for players to be able to like accurately calculate, or more accurately calculate their damage numbers, because a whole bunch of the stuff that you will equip onto your character or choose passives on the tree isn't handled in like the in-game tooltips. So Path of Building is kind of there to help where like the game falls short. And the fork was just a kind of like version of PoB that I started after the main version wasn't able to be updated anymore because the original dev got hired by GGG and he didn't have as much time to like work on it anymore. I'm honestly surprised about how much he was able to get done, because I think there's like 30 of us now who like work on it every now and then, and it's still a lot of work.
Yeah.
So he was just doing it by himself. So
Oh my gosh.
massive props to him.
Mm-hmm. No wonder they hired him. So OpenArl created the original path of building, and I was looking yesterday at, if you go to pathofbuilding.community, you can click on a tab that says contributors, I think it's called, and then you can see everyone who's contributed to the thing based on 3 attributes. One was like commits, one is additions, and the other one is like what, removing things. I forgot what it was.
Lines, I think.
What was it?
Lines of code changed, I think.
Yeah, like
Something
some
like
of
that.
it's like stuff you added and some of it's stuff you take away, I think. But there are special words for it. Commits, added, and removes lines. Okay, yeah. So Zhao in chat right now is also like a pretty prominent figure in a few of our communities, and he's been telling me that he also contributes a bit to PvP.
He does.
Yeah, so thanks to Local for creating the fork, because it has not only got better calculations, or as it also has like a bunch of quality of life things, like some basic stuff like the resist the color, the font change. Everybody was like, oh, it's like your cold resist is blue now, and all that. And that was a nice quality of life thing. Okay, so can I clarify? I'm pretty sure we've talked about this before. The path of building original code, OpenArl didn't actually give you guys access to that. You had to take it off GitHub and then start working on it yourselves, like as a copy, which is why it's called the fork, and it's not like a maintained version of PoB, right?
I mean, since it's like an open source program, you don't need like explicit permission. But I just created it originally. I'm pretty sure I asked him about it, and he said it was all right.
Okay.
But like, yeah, it's an open source program, so technically you don't need permission for anyone. Someone could fork our version and try to maintain it themselves. I know someone was going to do that a couple months ago, and I think they hit the roadblock of being like, oh shit, this is a lot of work.
I've got a good idea. Oh, it's a bad idea. It's a bad idea.
Yeah.
What were they going to try and do? Do you know?
It was like, I think the feature was good. It was the fact that what they were trying to add, I think the UI was kind of like scuffed for it, and we said we wanted it to be changed in some way, and they were like, nah, I think it looks good, I'll create my own version, and then I never heard from them after that again. So
Good Lord.
this did.
All right. So I guess I need to reframe this question. So how did you get involved with coding? I guess not necessarily building. And then how did you decide to pick up Path of Building Fork as a project?
I've always been like interested in computers since a young age, and I took some IT classes in year 11 and 12 and did it as like one of my final subjects. I did software dev, which was more like project management than actual like coding. And then after that, I took a couple coding classes at uni, done like 2. In terms of like coding ability, I'm pretty ass at that. A lot of my coding stuff is just kind of like brute forced.
Okay.
So, and then I ended up starting working on PoB because I think it was shortly after like Impale stuff came out.
Yeah.
Everyone's raving about Impale.
I was
and how
gonna
good it was.
say.
I was
I
like,
wanted to ask about that.
is it really that good?
Yes.
And someone had created a pull request on OpenArl's branch, and it hadn't get merged in because it was after he'd moved to GGG. I was like, I'll try and get that in myself. And I noticed there was a whole bunch of other snippets of code that other people added, and I was like, oh, may as well chuck them in too. And it was such a scuffed way of doing it at the start. I remember I was like manually copying, pasting code from like the web browser because I'd never used GitHub before or any other like proper coding programs. And then I was approached by two other guys who like were the other maintainers who've kind of like helped kickstart the PoB Fork stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I figured out that you could change like a line in the manifest file for PoB, you could pretty much just direct it to our GitHub page and it would auto update from there from then on. And
Was that the
post on-
change from us having to go to that certain page versus like just downloading the exe?
Yeah, because
Right.
at the time we didn't have like an updater or installer.
Yeah.
That came like 6 months after. I can't remember how long it took. It was just changing like one line in a file, and then it kicked up traction, and a bunch more people started contributing from the community. I was like, okay, I guess I'm kind of stuck doing this now, and it's been like that ever since. It's been great.
How much do you think you've
stuck.
learned, like from like coding, just messing with this fork adventure?
Oh God, absolutely heaps. I had pretty much like almost no real like ability to code prior to doing this, and I've learned so much on seeing other people like contribute features that I have like absolutely no clue how to do, and then kind of figuring out how they have got their solution, and kind of I usually end up applying some bit of that into like something else, some other feature or bug fix down the line. I've still got like so much to learn, and I still feel so out of depth when I see some of the guys in our dev Discord discussing things, and it's going way over my head. But it'll come with time, I'm sure.
I'm just chuckling at BK's comment because you said heaps, and I was like, "This is the Aussie answer. It's the Aussie answer." And he's like, "He's gonna say heaps. He's gonna say heaps."
Oh my god.
Is that an Aussie thing?
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
It really
Yeah.
is.
Definitely. Yeah, we would say loads, which
Yeah, we would say
honestly,
loads.
now that I'm thinking about it, heaps
Heaps is way better.
than
Heaps is
loads,
better.
dude. What have I been saying this entire time? Like, oh my god.
Yeah, I raided,
Oh,
I raided with an Aussie guild and I picked up heaps, and so every time I say it on stream, people are like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, when I remember my first introduction to PoB Fork was specifically because of Impale. Because Impale wasn't being calculated on the regular PoB. And everyone was like, we don't even know what Impale does at this point. Like, how is it actually working? So was that at all like an instigator for you, or did it just happen to be that you found somebody made a patch or code for the original PoB and you're just like, oh, I can do something with that? I was always wondering if Impale was like the catalyst to Fork.
Maybe. I can't actually remember if it was like that explicitly. But I know that was one of the big driving factors in getting people to use it into the first place. Because people are like, oh,
Adoption.
this new thing, I want to know the numbers for my build. Mr. Streamer says it does lots of damage.
But I can't see the numbers.
Yeah.
I want to see the
How do I
number.
know? Yeah,
How
no, that was
often-
huge.
How often do you have to validate streamers' numbers?
I was gonna go one more and say, like, how badly does streamer stuff affect what PoB needs to do?
Yeah.
Not too badly. Trying to think. There are definitely things that I implement like directly based off watching like Mathel stream or someone else streaming. Like yesterday, I was watching Veli and I was talking about what's it called, Unleash, and I'd been working on like Unleash. It was like a year ago, and I tried to like get it up to date so it'd be working again for a future update. And then my computer blue screened like a minute after I started working.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh.
I'm just gonna throw it in there, man, and test it out for that reap at this point. I'm like, because I think it does work better, but I also think I need like kind of significant AoE for it. We'll see. We'll see. I'll try it. You suggested it. You know, I believe. I look at PoB and I'm like, how do you even calculate leech? Does everybody who work on PoB, like, are you guys all mathematicians? Because I just look at those numbers and I'm slightly intimidated. I am.
Leech is confusing. I'm so
Leech is
confused by
very
it.
confusing.
We are all trying to make
Incredibly
sense of like a system that isn't even transparent. I can't even.
Yeah,
Like-
exactly.
Like, how does one even begin approaching what is essentially something you can't see in Path of Exile, and then giving some kind of form to that?
So a lot of it is we have a couple guys in our like dev Discord who play the game a shit ton and know a whole bunch of weird obscure mechanics and pretty much like exactly how they work. So they help a massive amount, and then a bunch of the times it's just me going into the game, maybe doing like PvP with a friend and hit him a bunch of times to see if something works or not, or if like a debuff is applying. Yeah,
That's dedication. PvP?
Yeah.
yeah,
Just
That's
loading it at
dedication.
all.
yeah. Because otherwise you can't tell if like something's being applied. So I have to ask my mate, is this getting applied? How much like damage did you take from that? Something like that. Although a lot of those numbers are also like kind of inconsistent because like the damage ranges in PoE are really annoying. So getting like a consistent like way to hit someone for the exact amount of damage is like a nightmare. It's all good fun when it comes out in the end and it seems to work how it would, like how they described it on the gem, and sometimes it just doesn't.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
Then you gotta wonder, is that the gem bugs? Because remember how some gems are just bork? Some gems
Sometimes
are just like,
yeah, the gems say some things sometimes, and then I see like the internal like stat names for skills, and I know those stat names mean something different to what they say on the gem. So it's sometimes guessing at like the way it
interesting.
works.
Oh, that's
And
really
then
interesting.
a bunch of the times GGG then updates the description like a week or two later, and my suspicions were confirmed, or they changed something else.
I like one of the questions from chat was like any particular examples of it really not working?
In terms of what, like in-game stuff not working?
Yeah, like a mechanic or something that you guessed and then you guessed wrong. I don't know.
Not that I can think of. I know there's always like some bugs that get fixed, usually like right at like league launch, and those are the things I need to take educated guesses on, and they get fixed like a day or two later. I can't remember exactly like any big cases. It's always like weird side cases, like where I don't know, counterattacks work weirdly, or like a triggered spell is getting a buff when it shouldn't be. Nothing like that serious. Or sometimes it causes a crash. I always feel bad about that. Yeah, nothing like too specific that I can remember off the top of my head.
Do you get really bothered, or does the community go into a tizzy when GGG decides to add new things like fanaticism and other just complete like new name interacts with other things? completely new concept that you have to account for in multiple different interactions. How does
Yeah.
that make you feel?
Things like fanaticism is pretty easy, but what are some of the things that they like cluster jewels when they came out?
Oh,
I was like, oh, this sounds great. And I was like, fuck, this is going to be an absolute nightmare to implement.
I think
I
I
didn't
also
think about
remember
that, but yeah,
like the
holy
entire
cow.
community
Yeah.
just being like that was one of the times where it was like you genuinely have to send the energy.
I
Yeah.
remember us saying, "Oh my god, I feel really bad for the PoB guys." Like that's basically. Oh, I feel terrible for the PoB. How are they going to implement this? How are they going to do the like? We just all of us we don't do it, right? So we're all just flabbergasted of how are you going to make this happen?
Mm.
Oh,
So
we need
the
like
thing of
one of those groups of people who are watching like a space launch. Like that was us. We were just like,
Mhm.
wow.
Everyone's standing up, hugging each other, cheering.
Yeah.
yeah.
They did it.
Massive
They
true.
made it work.
That actually is. That's how we felt. Guaranteed when we saw those clusters in there and properly working, and how like relatively easy it is to like it's easy to search for them. My only gripe is that GGG gives us a lot of like lines of words that it fills it the whole screen. You know, they're
Yeah.
like
That's a GGG thing, right? Like my whole UX
absolutely.
project, people are like, oh, so how are you going to convey this information? And I'm like, well, I don't even have the ability to do the hover stuff. And talking to my UX mentor about how things should be communicated in programming versus how Path of Exile goes about doing things. Like there is so much stuff that's considered alt text, which in a convention should be for people who can't like discern stuff without having a like thing read it to them, like people with visual impairments and stuff.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a necessary thing that anyone who's understanding what's actually happening on the gem or item has to.
And then like
use.
if you've got the game that sets the tone for that with like alt mod descriptions, etc., then of course Path of Building and any other like third party spin-off, if for lack of a better term, is going to take those kinds of conventions because the player base is used to interacting with this information in this way.
Honestly, because there's GGG is so wordy with everything that every gem has like a paragraph, like everything has so many words there. I just ignore most of the text at this point.
Yep.
I can't be bothered to read all that. You're asking me too much to look
Well,
at
like
words.
it's like when you talk about alt mod descriptions, for example, and you turn that on, like the part that you can see is like some obscure name of something else, which is with an adjective attached to it, and you're like, that doesn't mean shit to me. Like, what? Hello?
Yeah.
What I want to know is what tier is it? Like, how much damage? Like, can it be better? Right? And then that's like what PoE gives on its face value is so fucking useless to a player and what you actually need from it. And that's, I mean, PoE exists for this reason, right?
Yeah. Do you ever find that frustrating being like, this is a lot of tech. It's a lot. They're adding a lot here.
Yeah, they sometimes add like, oh my god, like so many like lines to just like certain, I don't know, like cluster jewel mods or something like that. I remember a while ago, I'm pretty sure all the cluster jewel stuff are just like hand typed in by someone at GGG. Someone decided to use like different apostrophes one time,
Oh my
and
god.
it broke our like tooltips, and it made it like extend across the whole entire screen.
Oh my god.
uh,
Oh,
Oh, I
jeez.
remember that.
it was weird.
That's fun.
Yeah, and some other stuff. Some other like alt text stuff that someone like messed up, and it like broke on our side as well. And then we have to create a fix for that, or I have to like manually edit the tree to be what I think it should be, and then they'll update the tree on the website like a week later, and I can grab the new version and see what it properly is meant to be.
So like you read through the patch notes and you actually look at all their like notes about where the stuff's going to be moved and do that before that you do that?
You actually
I don't.
manually do that?
I don't have to manually do the tree stuff. Well, some stuff I have to manually move because every time they give us the tree file, all these sentences are in really weird positions. And there was like one league where they were like all overlapping. I was like, wouldn't it be nice if like, I don't know, all the Templars ones were up on like the top left of the tree. And I started doing it, and I started to move them all. And I was like, God damn, this is taking me ages. And it took me like 3 hours to move them all because I had no clue what I was doing at the start. And it wasn't until this league where one of our guys created a script that does it in like 1 second.
Nice.
Nice.
Wow.
So thank God now.
Good job, that guy.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, that was very helpful. But yeah, we can just like grab new like tree versions from the website. That's how like we grab
Oh,
it.
okay.
Pretty
That's
much.
good.
It's
Thinking you have
pretty
to
easy.
read everything
Except
and like
for league start, right? Like, or do they give you the file already?
They give us the tree file. I think it's usually on like the Wednesday before the league
Yeah.
launch on Saturday, like Aussie time.
Because I always see that, like, so when they do patch notes, they always this thing that Path of Exile does, because it kind of shits me. They'll put a document out, and that's the thing that the news post links to, and that document always has the passives and like a description of all the new skill gems and all that stuff. And it's always like, if you create filters, you know, this is for you. And I'm like, there's one guy who does this. Like, I mean, okay, there's a few people who manually make their own filters and stuff, but that's niche. Most people are on Filter Blade now. Just like there isn't a whole bunch of the community doing PoB. There's like you and 30 other people, right? So this one page is for what, like 50 people max? And then at the top of it, they, after I complained about it, made a big image that says, click here for the actual patch notes. So it's like a document that says patch notes, and then it's like, lol jokes, patch notes are here. Go to a new page. Sorry, that was kind of a rant. But is that the thing, that first page? Is that like all the stuff for you guys?
I think so. Usually they have it in like a little link. I remember like one of the leagues, they just like hyperlinked like one word of text that linked to like the download file.
Is it just like a big JSON or something, or like
Yeah.
what format? Okay.
Yeah, it's a JSON with a bunch of like PNGs of like the tree background art for like each of the like wheels.
Yeah.
And then we just convert that to like Lua, which is what PoB uses, and then chuck it into an update. And people can see it. Although a whole bunch of stuff is like always broken because GGG loves to change their wording bloody every league. I don't know. They just decide to switch 2 words around randomly on some notables or something.
Or
and it
they
shits
add
me.
the other super vague ones, like for a while or whatever the new one is now.
yeah, occasionally.
Nearby for a
Okay.
while, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it is a while.
I don't know. It was like a paragraph of text, and I was like Noodle and I are both copywriter, like editor type people, and we look at some of the writing and we're just like, you use way too many words to say what you mean here. There's too many words. Like the 101 of writing, man. 101.
On a
Why
scale
use
of
5
1
words
to
to say
10.
1?
How much would you like them to simplify their words? Scale of 1 to 10. I'm just going to go with a 10. I'm going to say it. I'd like it to be a 10. I'd like them to say it when it's recently, say in the last 4 seconds.
Yeah,
Yes.
that would be nice.
Yeah.
It is kind of funny that it says this happens recently, and then there's like a little footnote at the bottom that says recently is in the last 4 seconds, and you're like, this is now 3 lines of text that could be 1 line of text.
I mean,
Oh
I
my
think the whole
God.
tree's like that. Like when you allocate a passive, like a keystone or something, and it's got like something that it does, and then underneath it's like it's got a name of the thing that it does, and then underneath it says what that thing is, and I'm like, just say what it does, like. But I mean, that's like Path of Exile down to a T. I think there's a fair few more questions. Let's get through those ones. BK, did you want to ask yours?
Sure. Mine was more just like a follow-up to everything. If people want to be involved and contribute to ongoing PoB Fork development? How is the best way for folks who have been inspired by your presence to maybe kick in and help a little bit?
If you can head to our GitHub page and you just type PoB into Google or PoB Community Fork, it's the first GitHub page that comes up. And then there's a contributing document on there that discusses pretty much how to set up a dev environment for PoB and to contact one of us on Discord if you want an invite to the PoB dev Discord. For all those people that are in chat wondering, can I get an invite to the dev Discord? It's not for user issues. It's pretty much strictly just for dev stuff. So we don't let everyone in usually, because I don't want to be managing a server for a whole bunch of people. If you have issues, you just chuck them up on GitHub, and that's the best way for us to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Or just a lot of people like to respond to Reddit posts. That's the other way I usually see it.
Do you have a big,
Yeah.
pretty big range of, experience levels of people working on the project with you?
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of people, ranging from very beginner, pretty much first coding experience, up to people that have worked in the industry for ages and know absolute shit ton about coding. I don't know, I'm probably somewhere in the middle there, lower middle, if I had to guess. So yeah, massive range of people. A lot of
That's
smart
wonderful.
people in the PoE community.
Oh, that's for sure.
Okay, I'll ask my question.
Mm-hmm.
So this question kind of stemmed from the Impale situation, but also just because there are some interactions on PoB that I notice are redded out. Some of them make sense, like reflecting damage to attackers. But what are some of the hardest parts, like specifically interactions, but anything, if you have an idea of what the hardest part of maintaining PoB Fork is?
Mechanics that the game does not tell you exactly how they work. And the one very specific example I'm thinking at the moment is cruelty, the new buff they added for what's it called, damage over time and hit skills.
Yeah.
And what's it called? They made I think it was Mark made a post on Reddit talking about cruelty, and kind of how it was calculated, and someone from that kind of guessed at what the exact what's it called, calculation for the cruelty buff was. But us adding that into PoB isn't as simple as it would seem. So the cruelty buff at the moment doesn't really do anything other than it adds the hit component, but it doesn't give you the damage over time component.
Okay.
Because it's based on enemy HP pools. So people it's different against Shaper, White Mobs,
Oh my
Maven,
God.
whatever. And people don't know HP values, or it's technically it's ailment threshold, and people
Those
don't know
are a
what
mess
ailment threshold
already.
is. And another PoE word could just make it HP, but no,
Yeah.
gotta make it
No.
ailment threshold.
No. Can't be
So
that easy.
So it's always different based on what mob you're hitting. So how do you automatically calculate that? I'm not sure. What's the best way to do it?
Yeah, I feel like there's a few interactions as well that kind of depend on the enemy type, either their defenses, resistances, ailment threshold, which that's quite the layered defense to have to dive into anyway. Actually, someone in chat asked a good question, Scorch and Brittle and Sap. I don't even mess with those because I have no idea.
I don't think anyone knows the ailment thresholds. We don't have the math on that.
Yeah, they never gave it to us.
What do we do?
I've been trying to make a decent build with Brittle for I don't know how long because Brittle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just a big fucking mystery, man.
Brittle should be like really good because it gives like up to 10 like base crit.
Yeah.
Can't remember if it's for like everything or just spells or attacks or something. But yeah, it's really good.
I ended up doing
but-
Doomfletch mines with it since it does all
Okay.
the elementals and then did the Secrets of Suffering and stuff. It was neat, but it's like still, I don't really know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I just kind of generically guess at like half
Yeah.
of the range and hope that's accurate.
Yep,
That's how I
it's
feel
just
about
based on
Trinity
feel.
support. Even though it's worded kind of, I still just, I'm uncomfortable with Trinity support. I'm just uncomfortable with it. I don't know. I do have a question
Mhm.
about, you guys recently added count. I don't know who added it, but it says it should calculate ball lightning.
Oh,
It
yeah.
doesn't
So
do
that's
anything yet that I can tell.
that's another thing.
Wait.
Yeah,
I want to
count as
read
you.
this guy's actual
And-
wording to you before you answer.
I'm just gonna say right now that overall ball lightning must be hell, and the same with specters. Like those
Yeah.
two things must be
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Okay,
like,
so
ball
he
lightning.
said, sorry, this question come from Sugarcaned. Question for the PoB guy. What number do we put in the count section to accurately calculate ball lightning? Number of balls per second, times 4 for the number of strikes, or not? He's so
exactly.
confused.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Mhm.
The count field is for. It only works when you click the little full DPS button as well above it. That's what it's meant to be for.
Okay.
And it just multiplies your skill by like an integer number. So you can't do like technically what ball lightning hits every 150 milliseconds, I think.
Yep.
So it's maximum of 6.67 hits per second. But then it doesn't scale if you use something like LMP. Only one of the projectiles hits at once.
Yeah.
But if you use something like Spell Echo, it hits twice.
Yeah, exactly. That's the only way with shotguns.
Yeah. So I think 6.67 is like the maximum number of like hits per second. I don't know. Maybe just add in full DPS and chuck in like 6. I know that there's a calculator out there for ball lightning that tells you what the multiplier should be.
Ball lightning, I love it, but I feel always perpetually like, is this good damage? I think this is good damage. Like I think I think so. Oh, thank you. Thank you for that one because it's a recently new thing. You want to tell people what else count is used
Recently
for?
new?
'Cause it's not just ball lightning. Recently used,
new.
recently added. Sorry. I don't know what
Yeah.
words. Recently, it's 8 p.m. I should be in bed. Okay. Oh, yeah.
So the count stuff is for the new feature for like full build DPS. So when you add like a whole bunch of skills to like output the total DPS as if you're using all of them. Mostly like used for like Spectre builds, minion builds, when you have a whole bunch of minions. It's really helpful there. Just keep in mind is that PoB was never designed to be calculating more than one skill at once. So it starts shitting the bed when you add like 6 different minions and you try to sort the tree by full DPS. It'll take like a minute.
Oh wow.
Like it takes a minute on my PC and I have like a 5900X, like a 12 core like latest CPU. So yeah, and that was after there was like a bunch of optimizations made. Pretty much because it's just it needs to calculate all the interactions between like 7 different minions at once or something.
Holy snap!
There's a reason I don't play minion builds.
Yeah,
it's not that.
It's really useful.
That sort of captures one of the reasons why.
Now I know how to break everyone's computer.
And you're gonna want to add the count, and, you know. Don't like somebody in chat? Tell them to up their minion count.
Then click full DPS and
Boo!
Yeah, so that's
Oh
what all
my
the full DPS and
god.
stuff is for.
Oh, I don't even think I used that on my most latest build. You know what? Thank you. Thank you.
Mm. I used
That 'cause
it a
that
lot with a Cosprey's build. If you have like 2 Cospreys and like your main 6 link, and you can see in one of your Cospreys, should I be adding like more damage to, I don't know, like Frostbolt, or should I be putting in a curse or something like that? It was interesting because I would have assumed having like a curse would be better, but it turned out that if I added like Ellie focus to one of my like ice nerves or something like that, effectively gave me more damage, which I never would have thought would have been the case.
That's neat.
that is actually really awesome because it gives us so much more information, and path is always like the best thing, right?
Mhm.
It's always just we crave it, we need it.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just saying yeah to Vel. That's all.
Okay. Okay. I have like some more bland questions to go, or we could go down to the viewer questions that I had submitted.
I don't mind. I'm happy to answer anything and everything.
I'm thinking we'll like ebb and flow a bit, so we can go a little bit bland and then go back to like the 5-head stuff.
Don't tell people the plan, Pie.
This is a meta podcast. I'm gonna tell you exactly how the podcast is gonna be a podcast.
Oh my god. Keep it to you.
Then we go outside and listen to other podcasts on our podcast. That's some ontological layers, yo. Yes, I just whipped out a big word, and Baylor would
Whoa.
love to tell me that I made that one up, but I didn't. I studied it in uni. I learned something. All right. So back to sort of like less PoB, more local identity stuff. How did you get into Path of Exile, and what are your favorite and least favorite things about the game?
I started playing because one of my mates' friend was playing, and he dragged my mate into it, who I've known for like at that time like 5 or 7 years. And he was like, "This game is great. You should play it." I started playing it. I was absolutely confused as fuck. I made my own character. I think it was like a lightning arrow or something like that. Hit level like 40 or something. I was just getting like one shot by everything. And then one of my friends gave me a pair of, I think I quit that league and I was like, this game sucks, I hate it. And I came back the next league, and I came back midway through the league, and my mate gave me a pair of poet's pens, and
Oh, yeah.
with Volatile Dead. I think this was pre Xerfy's Flask nerf. I didn't get to use the Xerfy's, but I played that. I think it was when like Poet's Pens like both trigger at the same time, and I equipped them. I think I equipped them at like level 12. I was like, my god, this is the most fun thing ever. Just like zipping through the map with body swap, and like all the balls just clearing everything on my screen. I was like, this game is great. And then I think I cleared everything in that league, killed like Shaper and other stuff. I had a lot of fun, and then I was hooked for all leagues going into the future.
Wait, your second league, you killed Shaper.
Pretty sure I killed Shaper. I'm pretty sure I tried Uber Elder, and I think I got it. I mean, I remember I played a Sunder Boy because I liked that skill as well. That was also
Thunder
fun.
was good back then.
Yeah, back pre like Slam Sunder when it was a good skill.
With just like
liked it a
multi-strike
lot.
and attack speed.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember when Sunder was good as well.
Hmm.
I don't.
What?
What?
Hot
You-
take?
you-
I
been
didn't
playing
play. I
longer
didn't play
than
it when it
us.
was good. I didn't play it when it was good.
Oh,
so
okay.
I don't actually
But
remember
you
when it
knew
was
it
good
was
because I'm
good.
just like, nah, Sunder. Yeah.
Wait, how did you never play? But does that mean you never played Sunder? Wasn't it all right for like a really long time?
I've never played Sunder. No, I would like obscure builds, like Ground Slam and such. Very obscure.
What?
Yeah. Super obscure. Absolutely.
Okay.
Nobody ever
Thunder
plays
was a
Ground
good
Slam.
melee skill for people who normally do ranged and spells.
Yeah.
I think, Lacerate is kind of filled in that sort of role
Mm-hmm.
after Sunder got
Yeah.
changed. It's like the air quotes melee build.
Let me just derail us only a tiny bit to say I would play Sunder if they gave us an MTX where it's one giant mole that comes out of the ground. All ground skills should have moles as their MTX. If we're gonna get cycloning cats, we need ground moles. I'm just saying it. I'm throwing it out there. GGG, if you're listening, you do ground slam, just moles coming up. Sunder, one huge mole. You get
I'll back
4
this.
moles for
Wait, doesn't
Earth
Sunder
Shatter.
go boom, boom, boom?
Yeah, cascades.
Yeah, so it could.
Yeah,
does the
cascades.
mole go like?
just huge moles. Like
Does the
one
mole
huge
go
mole.
like
Okay,
one
what if
giant
it's
mole?
3 moles stacked on top of each other
Yeah,
that they
like
all
Doug Trio.
fall?
Oh,
And
I
then
love
as they
it!
fall, there are different sections of the Sunder.
Oh,
So they go in
absolutely.
like a
That would be
really big,
so
tall
good.
tower, and then they fall forward, and it's like.
That would be amazing. I'm just calling it. We can need moles as MTXs. I saw the new ground slam. I was like, that's not a mole. What is this? What is
That's what I think
think
every
we
time I
should-
see something, I'm like, that's not a mole.
There's always
not
a
a
point
mole.
in this fucking show where we end up talking about like I don't know. We
Well, it was
theorycraft
because of Thunder.
MTXs. And I'm
They
just
should
like,
just
maybe
hire
we
us.
should just have a call with GGG and just be like, these are the MTXs we're thinking about.
Wait,
Take
I
any
have
of
a
Like
them,
moles.
any of them, and there will be a portion of the player base that will spend money. We promise.
Mhm. I'm still
We
waiting
had
for
a-
my meatballs for Molten Strike. Yeah.
Yes, Molten Straight Meatballs. We need more meme like MTXs. Like what?
Mhm.
They got bees.
True.
It's true.
What were
There
you
are
saying,
bees
Brittle?
in the game. I kind
What
of
were you
wish it
saying,
was
Brittle?
just one gigantic bumble though, instead of a bunch of little ones. That was it.
Mm.
If it was a big
With
fat
like a
bumble
big booty.
for each SRS. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I would love that. That's such a good idea.
Yeah, that'd be a lot cuter too. You can't really tell that they're
Cute.
bees.
Did they
Mhm.
make
I
a
was saying
buzzing
before,
sound?
there's that we had a big fight about the ritual bases because there's the one that looks like a mole, but we were like, all right, is it boots or is it gloves? Are they mole feet hands or are they mole hand feet? And we had a big debate about it. Turns out they're mole hand feet.
Mole hand
Mystery
feet.
solved. Yes.
You
Yeah,
think so?
They look like mole hands. For
But
your
that was
feet.
they're
our
feet.
mole controversy that we had last league.
They're obviously wanting to add
Mole
moles to the game.
controversy.
They're the mole
like to
hand feet
see-
just prove it.
The mole rats from like Avatar, the blind ones that can ground.
Oh yeah,
can
those
ground.
ones could be.
What's it called?
I'm
Earthband.
sorry I derailed us on this mole, but it was the Sunder. It was the fact that I'm just calling it out
I have
there.
a question
Making
going
shout
back
out.
to it's not mole
Yes,
related.
not
I promise.
moles. Not mole related.
Hey, local. What was your favorite build you've ever played?
It was my VD auto mining build. It was
Ooh.
without a doubt my favorite build.
Auto miner. Explain.
So it used mines like when they like reworked mines. What was it, like 5 or 6 leagues ago? When pretty much everyone hated mines. Oh, there's a bunch of people that really didn't like mines, but use mines because they had such a high mana cost when you chuck down like a bunch of them with a Skull's Bridle. That would then make you take a bunch of fizz damage and then trigger those mines automatically. So you'd never need to press detonate or anything like that. And I think that was it was pretty like before they capped the number of like VD balls. And
Yeah.
I saw someone else on, I think it was PoB Ninja, did the build I was like, this looks kind of weird and funky. I'm going to try this. And then I end up having like 10k ES, and
Oh.
I don't know, I could like one-shot Shaper, or like pretty much any boss. I was doing like 6-man boss carries with the build, with like
Oh.
ease, and it was such a fun build. I loved it. I think it was Legion League actually, because I remember it was really good at bossing, but it was absolutely terrible at like the Legion 5-way because the balls just split towards like everything.
Oh yeah, that's the one problem with VD is if you have any kind of encounter where there's too many different enemies and you're like, attack that guy, and they're like, eh.
Yeah,
It's
welcome
spread
to the
out.
life of SRS. I think BD and SRS literally use like the same pathing and behavior or
probably do.
something because
Yeah.
they're both dumb as hell.
But if it's like one dude, you're like, I can kill you in 2 seconds. But as soon as he has friends, it's, you know, a little bit more difficult. But that sounds so fun.
It was great. And then they reworked mines, so they no longer had a mana cost, but they
Yeah.
reserved mana, and build broken. That was a little
Aw.
sad.
Big
Rip
sad.
godly build. Yeah,
Is VD your favorite skill?
probably that. And I've also played Frostblades a couple times. I played
What
a
was that
really
face?
strong VD build last league, like all the harvest stuff, and I think I ended up having like 60 or 70 mil DPS or something like that. Yeah, and could like kill Maven in like a second or two. That was great. And that was so much fun. And that was the one I tried doing this league. And then I was like, I don't have harvest. How do I improve my build? Oh, item is now 10x on trade. Fuck. I don't have that money. Reroll.
Yeah, I keep running into that. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll just craft on this side. Oh wait, hold on. I
Yeah.
can't just
I'll
like
just fix
alt
this
regal.
with.
I
Right.
did so many bases where it's like you alt regal and then you're just like, yeah, I'll just augment the resistances on this.
Oh.
For me
No.
is I get really excited. I'm like, oh, I can do like keep suffixes, reroll prefixes, and then it's like, oh wait, those don't exist either. They're so
They just-
rare too.
They're
It's like
so
no.
rare.
It's so
I'm so
expensive.
surprised
Yeah.
those got nerfed so much. They don't seem that crazy to me, but yeah, I haven't seen a single one either.
I've had a couple of those.
I also
Yeah.
still haven't seen Trial Master, and I have 2 characters over level 90 and 1 character level 80, and I do all the ultimatums. So, you know, 6 link chevrons, never see Trial Master.
Okay, yeah, that really does say something, man. That's RNG.
Yeah,
weird
it's a
Oh.
weird one.
Terrible.
I know
think-
Vel, have you beat him yet?
Yeah, I beat him. I've seen him 3 times. The first 2 times I was still in my life variant and not even remotely ready to kill him, so he just one-shot me. And the 3rd time I beat him and got garbage as you do. But I have no idea the abilities he's doing, so I don't know what I'm supposed to do for my challenges.
Yeah, that's
Right?
absolutely my same experience. I fought
Yeah.
him twice, killed him twice, but I don't know what the fuck goes on in that fight.
What
mean,
am I
like,
supposed to
There's sometimes where I can't move, and then sometimes I take
Mhm.
some spooky damage, but like I can't die in that encounter. But I don't know what I'm doing either. And it's like, oh, I'll just go ahead and fail all 4 of these conditionals again.
Pretty
'cause
much.
It's red and it's red and it's red, and then there's some like call outs, but they don't explain what's happening. Like even if it was like
Nope.
you know, when he does like the thunder attack where he like freezes you and he goes like teleports around and then does like some sort of attack. Like maybe if he was like, aha, try and dodge this or something that gave you like a fucking clue, right?
Yeah, any kind of inkling.
Don't
I
just
need, like,
yell ultimatum at
cha-cha
me
slide.
and then just like chain me to a heart. Come on, man.
The chain to the heart. Like I don't even understand exactly.
I
He
don't
was on
think
the
the
other
heart
side of
has
the map.
rendered for me each time. Like
Oh my
everyone
God.
talks about this heart, but I have never seen it ever.
Oh my God. Yeah, the Trial Master thing has definitely been a moldy experience. Been a moldy experience.
What about you, Local?
Oh no.
Have you
Have you
done
seen
it,
him?
local?
I have
Yeah.
not. I haven't really played that much this league. like last league, I played an absolute shit ton.
Mhm.
Because I hadn't played in like a league or two, like not like seriously. Like I play every league and get like a character to 90, but like last league was like I think the first time I got Awakener 8. Previously in every league I'd got like Awakener 6, and then I was like I've done everything. But this league, my kind of thought process was it's pretty much the same as last league, except they nerfed a bunch of things that I liked. And there's like one new boss fight.
Is there though?
Is it really
But
there?
like,
There's
yeah,
one new
if you
boss
don't
fight, but
find
good
it,
luck if you find it.
it would be good. Drop a Hateforge and make
Yeah, there
like
you go.
110x or something is what they're going for at the moment. That would be nice. Or just get clapped because one of the mods is something that like completely cucks my build.
Oh yeah. Oh, those are fun.
The
Yeah.
one on Reddit
What
that I
mod?
felt bad was a guy had like 6 stacks of ruin and then gets teleports to the
Yeah.
trial master and then like the phantasm's like, yo, what up? And smacks him.
Yeah, like in the
And he just
grace
instantly
period.
fails
Yeah.
out. Yeah. It's just
Yeah,
like
that was
I would have just
Wow.
like had to go lay on the floor for like at least 10 minutes if that had happened to me.
Yeah. I think that happened to Noogie as well. Pretty sure like the
Oh,
exact same
Nuki's
thing.
in chat right now.
Yeah, he is.
yeah, I think I saw that as well. I
Oh
can't
my
decide
god,
if I'd
that
rather
hurts,
like
dude.
I kind of just want the opportunity at this point to get slapped. Like I don't even care if I die. I just want to like have I know that other people have experienced it, but I feel like I'm being left out. You know, Trial Master's probably just really scared of me. Probably.
Oh
it.
yeah.
You don't you have
Terrified.
that flame wall build going?
No, because I'm not rich. I can't afford any of my gear anymore. Everybody's
Yeah.
taking it for their Burning Arrow Ignite and their Fire Burst, and now I can't do my basic League starter build. So, no, but I think this other build will be able to do it quite well. I freeze basically everything,
Nice.
but not like perma freeze. It's not like the buggy stuff. So, you know,
Okay.
as long
I
as he
had-
exists.
I had thought of a really good question that's not on my list, but it
Mhm.
might actually be on my list from someone else. But anyway, I may take credit for someone else's question that they asked me on one of the various social media platforms that I asked the questions from. As a person who contributes to third-party tools that help people play PoE, what is your opinion on third-party tools in general? Like how much PoE is dependent on them, and do you have like favorites or ones that you'd like to call out, or work that you've seen from other community members that you think should be, you know, celebrated or recommended to anyone listening to the show right now?
Uh,
That was a big question. I'm
One's-
sorry. It was like 3 questions.
it is multiple parts. The starting part, third-party programs and like how GG treats them, I think. Or like
Not
the game.
necessarily treats them, because I find that, like, for the most part, I mean, even with the curses situation, you know, YOLO Mouse is supported and pretty much everything like they try to support. It's more like the fact that the game is very dependent on use of third-party tools to like
Yeah.
improve your experience.
Yeah, I understand like the reason why like so many third-party tools are prevalent. I think if GGG tried to like do them all in-house, it would be detracting from them creating like bigger and bigger leagues each time. So I'm not I don't mind, I guess. And when you have it as like a community, you're not relying on the company to get something up to date. You can go out there and code it yourself if you want and get it done. But in terms of like third-party programs that I really like, and there's a program called Xanthix PoE weighted search tool. I don't know if you guys have ever used it for a build.
Nope.
Feels
If
like
you've
I
ever
gotta
used,
Google it.
like weighted sums for like searching for items for your build on like the trade website, where you're looking like for a weapon and you want to know if like +1 to like all spell skill gems is better than like a 40% spell damage roll or something like that. Pretty much this tool hooks into like PoB for your build, and it grabs a shit ton of stats for it, and then it spits out a weighted search on the website, and pretty much you can just sort items by like how good they are for your build in terms of like DPS, and then see like, I don't know, there might be like a 5C wand that's better than a like 5X wand, just because I don't know it has like elemental penetration and some other weird stat that's good for you. That's like really helpful.
I need that so bad.
It exists
I've
in
had
WoW.
s-
It's like they basically created Pawn, but in PoE. That's really cool.
But that is
They'll
so
just
cool.
link
You
to the
just
chat.
blew my mind. You just blew my mind.
I've
I think-
so
God,
many
look at
times
it.
bought
I was
expensive
just-
things that are not the best.
Yeah. I'm like 2
Yep.
3 head in general. Like weighted sums, like for me, is like trying to figure out what jewels are good. I couldn't even try to extrapolate that to weapons or otherwise.
Weighted sums are super helpful if you learn how to like use them.
Absolutely.
They're great.
We're
That
all
is
just sitting here with
huge.
our mouth open, like,
We're just agape. Wow.
What other?
Wow.
PoE folder. Trying to think of other good ones. Varese calculator. I don't know if people still use that because Varese ain't really in the game anymore.
Oh
but for,
no.
like,
I still use that.
I
Yeah.
still do too.
chroming like off colors, that's like super helpful.
I still use it.
And what's it called Grimrose website, the new like PoE profit one, is really helpful. It's like a third-party tool to see how to like make more money. So usually I'm quite poor because I spend it all too quickly. But they're like the main ones. Yep.
Sweet.
Anything? What was the other part of the question? You remember, or was that everything?
I feel like that was it. I mean, they were pretty good answers. Because I'm sure there's certainly people, if I ask them, what do you think about PoE's dependency on third-party tools, and then be like, I think they should do everything in-house. And there would just be a very big lack of empathy there.
Like, I can understand because like PoE is trying to create bigger and bigger leagues every season. You've had COVID, which is like probably royally fucked over GGG in terms of being able to hire new people to expand their staff to create these new bigger leagues. So if you put the expectation on them that they're somehow to spread out even thinner to start creating like extra tooling for everyone, I think that's kind of unrealistic in some respects. There's definitely stuff they could do better and devote more manpower to. Like the cluster jewels just got supported on the website with this update.
Yeah.
And I know like the devs that work on like the tree stuff at GGG just haven't had the time to get it done because like GGG hasn't really allocated enough resources, and so it's really nice that it's done now, which is why you can like import cluster jewels for your build. That's why it finally works.
Could you imagine if they did everything in-house, how wordy everything would be? Okay. Be so many words, guys.
The whatever, like new update, 2 gigs. Like, oh god damn it.
Oh god. It's just letters.
It's all script. Oh my god.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. We need these third-party people to help us. Save us from all these words, please. We're desperate.
The real challenging part of Exile is all the words.
Yeah, it is.
It's the words you met along the way.
Exactly. You read a skill gem and you're like, what is even that supposed to mean? You know, you go to Pastebin and you're like, oh, it's right there. Oh, okay.
Honestly,
I can see
I
it
gotta
right
say, like when I read skill gems and I'm trying to think about what I want to do and I haven't like looked at it or anything, like looked at any video, I'm just like, what color is it? What kind of damage? Like what color? What kind of damage does it deal? Am I feeling like, you know, one of, what is it, 7 types of damage with fizz, fire, cold, lightning, chaos, poison?
Blood now. Well, physical damage over time, I guess. Covered in
No,
blood.
dot versus initial hit are not. I mean, that's a separate category of question,
It all gets. There we go.
in my opinion.
And we're off.
And some damage over time is ailments, and some of it's not.
And
decay,
now
which
we're
is
on
its own
Path
thing.
of Building.
Mhm.
Oh, I just gotta say, one of my favorite things ever about the Path of Building and the fork that you've added is that me and my homies will put our 5 brains together and make a 2-head build. You know, but it's like really, it's the fact that I could share my idea and then they can spin on it and then they can spin on it and you guys would like, you know, you added a feature, for example, the count feature. Then they're like, oh, you didn't have this clicked, and I'm like, wow, you just blew my mind, right? I love that. I think that's like one of the best things that that PoB and the continuing it with the fork has done for us is just sharing our ideas with each other. Just
Yeah, it's so helpful.
I like the ability to import like from a profile, so as long as that person has their stuff listed publicly, so anyone from PoE Ninja without, or anyone in the game, like if you just like, oh, I know this person, I'm curious what they're playing, and then you can just look. You don't even need to look elsewhere because you can just do it all within the app. But then you also have the Pastebin option. Although now that I think of that, do you remember when Pastebin had that problem where they were like, yo, these people are calling
The
too many
timeout.
things.
Yeah.
How
I still
did you
get
guys
that
handle
sometimes.
that?
Yeah, so apparently that was happening, I think it was like a week ago. There was like another issue.
Yep.
And
Oh crap! Really?
it's, I
Yep.
think so. There was a bunch of people that were getting the issue. I always see it, it pops up on GitHub. Can't import my build. Pastebin, it's not working. So our initial idea when it first started shitting the bed was we were creating our own website that would host people's builds instead of Pastebin. And that's almost kind of done.
Oh.
So instead of like doing share with Pastebin, it'll be share with pubcodes.net, something like that. Can't remember exactly. But that way, like our website's not gonna hopefully not die and allow you to not upload builds. Also, someone added the ability, that was like yesterday, we merged it into our dev branch where you can import builds from a bunch of different websites.
Oh wow.
Where was it? I can't remember. There will be like random Pastebin alternative websites. Can't remember exactly what they're called. I can't open it up anymore because after I blue screened yesterday,
Oh no.
my local version has corrupted, so I'll have to
Oh no.
fix that. Rip. Yeah.
Zao
It's
saying
out.
them in chat. Ghostbin,
Yep.
Rentree.co,
Right.
and TinyPaste.
Yep. So those ones. So if Pastebin shits itself, you can use one of those websites as like a backup,
Oh, that's awesome.
which is always nice. Yeah. Just a bit of extra security and like fallback in case Pastebin decides to start like deleting all PoB builds again.
I'm curious how many Pastebin requests are Path of Exile related versus outside of Path of Exile related.
That would be interesting to know. The thing is, we're actually still using OpenArl's original like Pastebin API key because he had like special permission. Because usually, if you're a normal person, you can only upload, I think it's 100 things to Pastebin per day from like one, what's it called? Like, actually, I think it's less than that. I think it might be 10. But anyway, like OpenArl obviously contacted Pastebin ages ago and got like a special dev key. That's the one we're still using. And I would like to know like the numbers on how many builds and stuff are created per day. We'll probably change it at some point to be our own API key because I'd love to know the details on that.
If you have your own API key, can you measure that?
I think so. Because I'm pretty sure I talked to OpenArl once. I'm pretty sure he told me how much like traffic was like going to Pastebin, but I can't remember exactly. It was a while ago. It was like 6 months, 9 months ago.
Oh, you could see how it fluctuates based on how the league's going and the player base in general. Oh, sorry, I've been working in analytics for a while now.
I love data and stuff. It was always interesting to me.
Me too. Okay. I have like an interesting, well, I think it's an interesting question I'm gonna ask. So if you were to implement an element or elements of Path of Building into PoE so that people didn't have to go outside of PoE to do it, what would it be and how would you do it?
God. I think something that's like not in yet, but maybe will be soon, is the ability to like actually test your like proper DPS in like a fight, because like PoB obviously tells you your like optimal DPS numbers when you're wailing on a bus for, I don't know, like 10 seconds or something like that. But a lot of the time you're jumping all over the place. You don't know how much DPS you're actually getting. So if like the game told you how much DPS you're getting for like averaged out over a fight, with like sometimes having out flasks, sometimes not. I think that would be interesting to know. And also a breakdown on what's it called? Like EHP numbers, which we added a while ago, but it's also kind of broken at the moment slightly. Knowing like how big of damage you can actually hit and getting realistic physical damage reduction numbers, because like the game tells you at the moment physical damage reduction against like a 1000 damage physical hit, which is not going to kill anyone. Like you only really want to know your physical damage reduction against, I don't know, something that's like 5000 or 10,000 damage. That's going to one shot you. I think that would be really interesting to know. But I don't know. I don't think they're ever going to add a DPS dummy into the game. Pretty sure they've said that like a couple times, but can always hope.
Yeah.
Still worth asking the question.
I think it's good.
We have a juicy one. This is actually from Zal when I was asking for viewer questions, but I include it in the overall interview questions because I'm sure everyone else is dying to know. What actually goes into preparing for a new league and incorporating the new mechanics and skills and so on? Like, is that something that you coordinate yourself, and do you guys all get into the Discord together and work through things? Do you allocate?
Yeah. So usually we create a what's it called? A Google Drive document in a like Google Sheets like page for like different items when they pop up in like teasers. So like someone can add them as like a pull request to get them in before league launch, and like new mechanics that we see, new like notables or like tree changes, all that kind of stuff. And then when the tree file comes out on like the Wednesday beforehand, we usually add a whole bunch more stuff to the document that's like broken on the tree that needs to be fixed, or like added support for like a new mechanic. And then we usually work on that prior to launch day. And then the past two leagues, GGG have included data in the game files in the patch in the torrent. Prior to that, you could only get access to the data when the patching server came up, like 3 hours before the patch went live. So like when that comes up is usually mad dash time to import stuff from the game files, seeing that GGG changed something with their file type and all the export scripts are broken. Being like, God, what if they changed? How do we fix it? And trying to get that all done on time. I ideally one time want to get everything done before like the league patch goes live, and I was kind of close to getting it done this league, but then I fucked up somewhere and deleted something that I shouldn't have, and didn't get out in time. But that's usually what the league looks like. And then we released like a patch on day 1, and a bunch of stuff breaks. People on Reddit say my build went down by 50% DPS. What's going on? And then try and fix it like later that day or the next day. And patches just kind of get intermittently more like spaced out as the league goes on, because it's like less people reporting issues and usually less bugs. Keep
There's
like
that
fixing.
one league where it was like poison damage was super busted. You like load up a Scourgero poison bit and it's like 457
Oh, yeah.
billion damage, and you're like,
Yeah.
Are you
Looks
sure?
amazing.
Yeah, I remember. I can't remember what that bug was to do with. Something to do with like we changed like one way like poison damage or something else was like calculated, and it bled. It was like double counting nodes or something like that.
yeah.
So it just went to gazillions of numbers. Yeah, and other stuff like I didn't realize this until someone made a Reddit post like last week, but GGG just for some reason, unbeknownst to me, just decided to change the mod for lacerates more bleeding damage when you have stance, like blood stance or something like that. They hadn't changed it in like a
Okay.
couple leagues, and then they just changed the wording, and that broke it in PoB. So
no.
some guy was like, I feel like my damage should be more, and it's not showing up. And I checked, and yeah, they changed like one word, so it just like stopped working.
Oh no.
It's always weird stuff
Like-
like that.
How Prism Guardian is currently messed up because they changed the mana. Actually, I know I had to change the line on Prism Guardian to make it show up right, because they made it now skills
Yeah.
affected, not just blood magic anymore. It's called something I don't remember. It's got a long
I
name.
think-
Arrogance, I think.
Yeah.
Or
Oh,
something.
yeah.
Arrogance is like
Yeah.
blood damage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they changed it so that it's like a global between both, not just mana anymore, between life and
Mm.
mana. It's like skill or whatever. And it
Yeah.
broke Prism Guardian for a while, where it's like people are like, why don't I have
Mm.
enough life reserve?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, you do. It's just Prism Guardian, okay? It has a different wording now. It'll take some time. I
Yeah.
swear it. I swear. Is there anything in like that somebody has recommended or said like I'd like to implement this, and you're like, well, we could do that? Like, whoa, that sounds really cool.
Yeah, a bunch of times people have done that, recommended things. I've been like, oh, that's neat. We should add that in. Can't remember off the top of my head, because honestly, there's been like so many features and like small things that I've like added in. I don't know how many pull requests we're up to at the moment, but that can't be right. There's like, apparently, according to our GitHub page, there's 1,200 pull requests, of which 1,168 have been closed. So there's been a shit ton of features that have been like merged in.
Wow.
Yeah.
So is that when
Keep
someone does the do they write a request and then you guys figure out a way to do that, or do they actually come up with a solution and then just give?
Sometimes people come up with solutions themselves, so that makes it life much easier, because you can just copy and paste stuff. And a bunch of other times it's a general idea of a feature, and then someone would be like, I want to implement that. Although I would say majority of the time that features get implemented, it's because one of the people who regularly contributes to PoB is running a build that doesn't have that has some part of it that doesn't work in PoB, and they're like, I want it to be fixed, so they'll create the fix themselves.
Nice.
I can say that's happened a lot with me as well. When I run a build, I'm like, PoB doesn't implement this, I'll just do it myself now. Why not?
Fine.
So yeah, that's
Oh man.
That's how it works.
Thank you guys for running all of those builds and just implementing those things for us.
Yeah. All random weird
man.
skills or something.
I feel like reading some of the comments in chat and then just this discussion so far, maybe some of the confusion around PoB and how to contribute to it comes from people just having a lack of familiarity in open source and how to use GitHub rather than PoB itself being the confusion point. So like if you have a bug problem, if you have a suggestion or a comment, I guess, Reddit's not always the place. Obviously, you check Reddit religiously, but GitHub has these wonderful ways for people to interact with you guys in, I guess, like locally, like it's within the site. You don't have to go to socials to talk about it, I guess. Maybe that's
definitely makes it easier
good message
to like track things.
Yeah, I'd say part of it, from my experience, at least working remotely and in agile work environments, is that GitHub having those kinds of like requests, you know, you can add them into a workflow and then actually action them as a team. And it's different to just seeing a random comment on social media. I guess it's the same thing as like tweeting or Reddit posting about a bug report instead of actually making the bug report in Path of Exile. Similar. Like if the bug report isn't made, then it doesn't go into the workflow by the team.
Yeah, for sure. Although I do check Reddit like a lot, checking for new posts that have like something to do with PoB and trying to like respond to people's posts as well. A bunch of the times it's people saying something doesn't work and it's them not understanding how game mechanics work instead of PoB being wrong.
How much time do you spend explaining to them how the mechanic works and how to set it up correctly, and or do you just leave them and let someone else do it for you?
A lot of the time now, it's other people can just explain it for me. I'm like, thank God I don't have to do that. But there's sometimes when there's things that haven't been explained well, like a bunch of stuff when the walk rate changes came out. A lot of people were confused. Why does my DPS go down when I get more attack speed? And it's not obvious at the start because the way like walk rates and PoB were calculated is based on like uptime and a bunch of other things. So I had to like communicate that at the start because there were people that were also giving like false information about like how it's working. But it hasn't taken up like too much time. Might be like a 5-minute response to a question. That's pretty easy.
There's a great question in chat. Do you have a bit of a rivalry with PoE Planner? Don't lie.
I can't remember who develops PoE Planner.
Wow. You
Wow,
said all you
shade. Shade.
I wish I knew all the devs. There's a whole bunch of people in like the PoE's official like dev Discord, and I can't remember what everyone's tool does. I usually add like a little note to their name. But I know there's one of the planning websites. I think it's done by Emmett, one of the dev guys, and he's the one who always does the like tree changes, like preview at the start of like the league, where you can see which nodes have changed and which ones haven't. And I really like that, but I don't think he did it this league. Not sure what happened.
There's also, have you used the little PoE Mate, which is like the app for your phone?
I can't. Is it on Android or iOS?
I'm on Android and I can use it. Are you on iOS?
I have like an iPad and my phone. I don't think I have ever used it because if I want to plan something, I'll plan it out on my PC.
Yeah, I can get that. I just know there's some people who like to be able to like plan on the fly when they're walking, or their CBF getting out of bed is usually the reason.
Who is trying to plan while they're walking? Do they
I was
want
gonna
to
say
die?
that's a good way to go right into a poll.
Yeah, right. Like, what do you mean?
I
And then you
remember
try
when
to
I
explain
first
yourself.
started-
You're like, oh, well, I play a game and then I have to use this app to plan out my tree. So I know how much damage. And they just look at you like, did you hit your head hard enough?
Yeah, I
Jesus,
did
what
actually.
nonsense are you saying?
Okay. I used to, so I first got into Path of Exile. I had a significant other who lived on an hour and a half train journey away. And so he was the reason that I got into PoE. What he was playing, and I was like, what's this about? And so I had like the app on my phone because I was curious and like coming up with ideas on my way to and from.
I can't even imagine trying to click like 10 strength on a phone. Just like, am I clicking it? Am I? I didn't click
You
it.
can zoom in. Oh, fuck it. Okay, fine. I'm sorry I brought it up.
Yeah, listen.
To be
listen.
fair,
I don't know.
I've woken up from dreams before thinking about POB stuff and like
Yep,
run to the computer and
Yeah,
tried
you
to
gotta
like
scramble
implement
down
the
the
dream.
stairs.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
And then
have
you
done
are
that
sitting
too.
there and the dream is fading and you're like, wait a second, I can't do 3 different types of elemental damage with traps. Where am I?
Yeah. Who am I?
You
Yeah.
would
Wait,
dream
how did I
that.
pass to the shadow area again? Damn it.
It's true.
But if I had it on
I have had
phone, who knows?
PoB has been open in my sleep. You know? I'm
What
not
do you
even
think of
dreaming. I'm
that?
just thinking. Oh my god. What is Yeah. How do you feel about knowing PoB just stays like on and while I'm asleep? Just
I've
Yeah, I
had
have a
the
stupid
same thing
question.
yeah.
where I'm lying in bed. I'm like, God, this would be. I wonder if this would be better for my build. Get out of bed, sit at my PC, open up PoB, and then be like, oh yes, it is better. I'm gonna buy that item tomorrow, or like change this gem tomorrow.
Tomorrow, though, we just need augmented reality
Yeah, that's what I was
glasses.
thinking, VR.
Yeah,
Be like Minority Report, but Path of Building, just like
I
flipping
know.
stuff around, going through skill gems, and
You finally have
changing
enough
mods
monitors.
out on gear.
I could see the pattern.
In 20 years, that's what it's going to look like, you know? And it really will become the game, and then PoE is just the simulation.
Oh.
It honestly is. I'm not kidding. Me and my mods were hanging out in Discord. It was like 1 a.m. and then we were up till 5 a.m. just talking about things we could do in PoB, and then we didn't even make a build. We just went to bed. Like, all right, we talked about that enough. Good night.
Yeah, I've had a lot of
What
people
if I-
in stream be like, yeah, I'm playing the real game. POB.
PoB. I'm just looking at it,
Especially
seeing what
when
I could
it's
do.
a league where they're like not into the actual content. So like, I'm gonna play PoB this league. Maybe I'll buy some stuff in standard.
Yeah.
Maybe I already have the stuff in standard.
Yeah, people theory craft their massive damage builds, and then they try to implement mid league, and they're like, God, this very specific item is not craftable. I have to buy it, and then it's like 50x or something. One random guy has it.
Here's
or he just
one
doesn't
guy.
respond to your trade message.
Of course. It's the one guy who doesn't respond.
Up to sleep over.
That is always funny when somebody sends you their POB. The first thing I always do is I go into the frickin' configuration and I look at how many things they've checked because I'm like, is this real? And usually it's not. They're like, yeah, I got everything up same time.
Yeah, that annoys me for sure. Especially when I see a bunch of videos from, I don't know, someone will make a video on YouTube and it'll get recommended to me, and I'll have a look at their POB, and it'll just be their items, and they won't have like anything ticked in their config page. And I'm like, why are you even providing a Pastebin for users if you don't like even represent your build properly? I don't know. Or someone puts random like stats onto their weapon because they think PoB doesn't handle it, so it's like massively overinflated.
I hate the overinflated ones, but
manually the stats.
Yeah.
I try to do the config stuff, and then I'm always like, I think I know what I'm ticking. Hope that this is right. I'm not ticking everything. I promise I'm not ticking everything.
Definitely can be confusing, and we're adding.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, PoE is just adding more mechanics every league, so we need to add more checkboxes because for some reason they'll have something like consumed a corpse in the past 8 seconds, but then you also have a consumed a corpse in the past 4 seconds or past 2 seconds. So
Why?
you need
I'm sorry, I think you mean a bit ago, recently, and
For a while.
immediately, yeah.
From my auntie's place around the corner. That's That's what I'm waiting
Yeah.
for, like that level of detail.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
You know what I find so helpful though is that the configuration not only has a bunch of these checkboxes, but if you have certain items or certain notables, it'll add boxes. So for
Yes, I
example, I've
really
been
love
using a
that.
lot of
Like when you
like
equip certain items with that
yeah,
I read that
Malachi's
and I
Artifice,
understand
I've
what
been
it
using
means.
it for the elemental equilibrium, and then it's like, oh, you have a lightning golem in there that's a blue thing, so is it hit by lightning damage and ignores skill hit damage? And I'm like, that's so cool that it just knows this item means these things are now available. So you don't have like the full
Yeah.
list of God knows how many things you could check.
Yeah.
Mm.
Pretty much everything I try to add now is always like those dynamic pop-up boxes. I would ideally like to remove a lot of the stuff from the configs page and make it dynamic, but that would require like a bunch of work of
Yeah.
adding conditions to like everything. It'd be nice to do for the future, but yeah, just a
It
lot
would
of
be
time.
nice, but even like the amount that it is now is just so nice. It's
I think people would
great.
feel more comfortable knowing when they should be checking things when it's conditional, because then they know that those config options aren't being shown to them unless they've set up everything else
Yeah.
correctly.
That's true. Big
That's the UX perspective. Sorry.
I just want to say, I 3 weeks ago just found out in the calcs area that I can see my radius,
Yes.
and that was extremely exciting, dude. I just want to
think
say
I did
like,
that
that was
too.
very exciting. I always have to go to the page, look at the radius, and then I'm like, and my friend's like, why don't you just go look in calcs? I'm like, hold on, what the hell you mean go look in calcs?
Yeah.
About the actual like radius size, it shows the circle. Thank you to whoever, if it was you, whoever added that. I just love it. It's so great. It's so great. I tend to play a lot of builds that oddly that number matters to me. Calcs is a
That-
great page, but it is intimidating. It's intimidating.
it is.
There's a lot
many
of numbers.
Speaking of changes, somebody said to me recently, oh, it no longer highlights like damage nodes, etc. And I was like, no, that's gotten like way more configurable. Like it's still there. It's way more impressive now. And then I had to explain how it worked. And I was pretty sure I did like a half good job, but not great.
I think it wasn't there for a little bit. I remember because I am heavily reliant on that. I'm like, show me the colors. Tell me what's a good thing and what's not a good thing for me, because I might have an idea, but it's like I use the show node power all the time. And I think it was changed to like being a little bit more complicated, or I guess not complicated, but like
Customizable.
configurable.
Yeah, like how to
but
drop
I think
down
it was also gone for a couple days.
thing. Yeah.
The
show
power
no power?
report thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like when we changed it, I think it was the very start of this league actually, to be that like a box down the bottom, and then a lot of people were like, I don't want to see that box all the time, and I had the same thought where I don't want to see it all the time. So I got the guy who initially implemented it to like revert it back to kind of how it was before, but also adding like the new functionality with like showing a little drop down box instead of like popping up in the middle of your screen. I think it's far more useful to be able to see it and like drag around your tree at the same time. But yeah, it was like broken for a bit. And I know at the moment there's some stuff that's still broken, like minion tooltips, but that should all be fixed. There'll probably be an update out like tonight or tomorrow that fixes like a bunch of things with like tooltips and other stuff.
Yeah, because not gonna lie, when I didn't see the show node power button, I panicked. I was like,
Yeah, you remove the
I don't
button
know.
and you set some people on fire.
My colors, my colors.
tell me what to do, PoB. You're my only hope.
On the subject of colors, do you get much feedback, I guess, or critique around accessibility? Because I know PoE has its own issues. I'm sure it's easier for you guys to implement suggestions on that. Have you had any?
There have been ones where people have asked for like bigger font sizes and some other stuff like that. I was like, bigger fonts sounds great for everyone. And then I realized that all the UI and everything in PoB is static, so you can't just change the font size because it breaks everything.
Because of how much space it takes up, and then it would then take
Yeah.
up more space. Yeah. Grids.
Yeah. Other stuff like adding like the colors on like the side was to help people like easier identify things. I've wanted to add a whole bunch of like config options, like pretty much like a big like config page to PoB, so you could I don't know, like auto set some options, which would be like handy. I can't remember exactly what I had in mind. There's a bunch of like quality of life stuff I've like wanted to add, but just not like the time or the knowledge of how to code it. One of the recent things was like 1,000 separators and decimal separators. Like we always use like commas for separating like thousands in Australia. So seeing like decimal points just seems like so weird and something that like never bothered me. But then some, I think it was like first time contributor guy from Europe implemented it. So you can like change it now if you want it. You could make it question marks or something else weird if you wanted to. But yeah, I think quality of life
So wait,
stuff,
they don't like the decimal, the commas?
Yeah, because like in some parts of Europe, if you have like 1,000, it's like 1 full stop 000 instead of 1 comma 000
What?
to like show them. Yeah,
No.
yeah.
Yes.
I hate that.
And there's some other countries that have like different for when you have like, I don't know, 100.03. It's not comma and it's also not full stop. It's something else. I can't remember where it was, but it was like some person made an issue on GitHub about it. I was like, I've never heard of that before. But he wanted and he can do that now, so I hope he's happy.
What is a decimal comma? I don't even know. Somebody's talking about it in chat.
Are you guys talking about semicolon?
We're talking about punctuation and numbers.
Yeah.
Oh, when you said decimal comma, I'm like,
Oh, so like,
If
you
you're
have,
talking about a semicolon, maybe?
well,
No.
that's what I'm saying.
you know, like comma is like shift and then like next to M. Comma is just like next to. Is it not called?
Comma's next to M and then semicolon's
Yeah.
next to L.
Yeah. No, like differences for comma and full stop are what people like wanted to be able to change to like different things.
Yeah.
Why are we calling it full
Awake
stop
and
and not
comma.
period?
Is it called? Okay, it's not called. I've never called it period in Australia. I think it's always called full stop. I think that's why.
Yeah, that's right. But
What?
yes, in Australia we call them full stops, and
My NA education did not prepare me for full stops from periods to full stops here, okay? I'm like, what are you talking? What is this? Like, what are we SOSing here? Full stop? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
So like,
when was the last time?
you know how when people in North America will try to say something with emphasis and they'll say period at the end of the sentence? Like,
absolutely.
There was a very long period in my life where I didn't understand why they were saying period, so I just thought the word meant emphasis, like in a slang sort of way. It is still
That's
slang.
amazing.
Listen,
You just enlightened me to that fact as well right now.
we're both
hon.
very confused
So
here.
sorry to be
I'm
the bearer of that
confused.
bad news. Yeah, so when people say Path of Exile is not fun, period, because XY or whatever, like they're saying that because they want to give yes.
Come on, you're like it's not very fun. So you would say full stop. You
Yeah.
would say full
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah. Then again, I don't actually know the grammar skill of our country at the moment. I don't think it's that good. They might not know. Maybe we're saying period now in schools.
Yeah,
Who
I don't
knows?
know.
Schools, they still exist at this point.
I mean, our kids are going to school these days.
Oh,
In
that's
the like really big sense, I don't have kids.
yeah.
Yeah. So little. This is the nice thing about having an Australian on the show.
I had the
Like,
same
full
thing.
stops.
I went to college in the US for a bit when just after I finished school, and I was studying and playing basketball, and I just remember there was a whole bunch of like Australian like words that I'd say all the time, and they would confuse it for like totally different words, and it was hilarious to me every time. Where I said like going out this arvo to grab something, and I had no idea what the fuck I was talking about. Or I'm having brekkie now, which is like breakfast in Australia.
Yeah.
I don't understand how Americans don't know brekkie. Like, what do you guys think it is?
Well, I
I
think we
had
could
someone
use
who
our.
couldn't point to Australia on the map.
Oh well, that's.
That's terrifying. What? It's big. How can you miss it?
Yeah, exactly.
You turn. Oh.
Where
Okay,
did
I'm
they
sad.
point? Where did they decide Australia
Have you
was in the end?
Slight digression on the map topic. There's like a Twitter account that has like it's entirely to piss take New Zealand, and in every single screenshot of a map, it's like fake demographic or it's like fake statistics that you could visualize, right? So countries that X like have this quality about them, and then some of the countries are red, and then New Zealand is always not where it's supposed to be, somewhere else in the globe, and included in the like highlighted country.
Oh my god. I thought Australia was just New Zealand's West Island, though. That's what I thought. That's what I heard.
Pretty much. Yeah, there's always the maps without New Zealand. And it's like a subreddit. That's always funny to see. Like, massive
Kiwis
businesses.
just pissed off Kiwis there. Like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
Furious typing, like.
Oh man.
All right. Okay. Do we do the let's go into like we've been going for a little bit, so I think we should just chat about some recent PoE events, and then we'll do the viewer questions after we end the actual podcast.
Speaking of furious typing.
Yeah, speaking of furious typing. Should we go with the Hateforge nerf that wasn't mentioned? I will preface this with Rory's already addressed it and said this should have been mentioned. But did you guys have any hot takes regarding Hateforge stealth nerf?
If only I really knew what it was, because I haven't seen it or anything.
I looked up the price of it and was like, all right, this doesn't concern me. This is not something I'll realistically afford. Therefore, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So my understanding of what happened is basically they looked at a specific interaction with ballista totems and were like, it shouldn't do that. So then they changed basically the entire way it functions by saying only you when you do hits, which is weird because that's not accounting for so many other ways that you are not the one doing hits. So like I'm just so confused how they were like, oh, it's working with ballista totems in a weird way. And this is I'm not completely sure if I'm getting this totally right, but like it's not working with this one specific gem, so let's change the item. And I'm like, why don't you like change the gem or like change something specific about the item? Because all the posts on Reddit that I saw are like, my mine build is completely, or my trap build is completely destroyed now. And it was really, I think it's weird if they were honestly looking at one interaction and saying that's broken. And then they're like, change the entire thing.
Change it all then.
Back to the drawing board.
Yeah, I think it was interesting change to make. I think it's obviously, well, I feel like it's been done by someone who thought, it's just affected this one build. I remember Rory said in his posts, no one had been abusing the gem in like a Ballista Totem burning arrow build, I think it was, or something like that. File burning arrow. So like, oh, this will be fine. Leave it out of the patch notes. They leave things out of the patch notes all the time. That's
Oh,
another
yeah.
thing that annoys us. Because people are like, oh, this gem changed. I looked through the patch notes and it was never there, but they've changed it if you look it up on like the trade website or something. That's what it
they-
just slipped by.
They put it in it as a sneaky and made additional changes. That's all you get. That's all you get. That's all it is. Made various other changes.
Yeah. Personally, my thought is you shouldn't change it unless it's like ridiculously broken, where
Aura stacking.
you can just slap it, aura stacking.
Or was it Herald stacking? My bad.
Yeah, kind of same-ish thing. But I wouldn't nerf it personally, especially like the gloves at the moment, like 100x. Like you're going to affect like 30 people in the league, I don't know, or 100 people or something. It's not.
They've had a history of like doing certain changes. Like I remember when Volatile Dead was like released and they had the helmet with 2 extra balls from a corpse or something like that, and then they were like, oh no. And they were like, we're just gonna take that helmet out of the game. So like they do it from time to time, but I don't know with this one.
It's pretty rare.
Yeah, it's very rare. And it's usually for a good reason, but I don't know enough about this one to.
Yeah, I didn't theorycraft any builds, or haven't heard from anyone in my Discord about it being like hilariously broken.
Yeah, I hadn't heard about it till the nerf.
Doesn't it
really
give you infinite vol skill ability? Isn't that like the whole thing? Is that you can do pure vol ability again, and it makes it giga OP essentially because of the infinite rage something.
it
Yeah.
uses.
You can say
that's
infinite
basically
again
it.
if you
So,
want.
Infinitely infinite with infinitus.
Yes.
That's a word, indeed.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think that's it. And they basically, the only time they ever change these things is when it's working not as they intended it to be. And there's very few things that they've done that with. Like there was a Watcher's Eye once that gave you like 80 damage over time multiplier, and they were like, oh, that was a mistake, right? It was like some malevolent shit. They had to cut that out right away. That was an accident. That one had to be cut. They've done a couple of changes like this mid league. It's pretty rare, but they clearly don't want people to be using infinite vol skills. The vol skills in their mind, as far as I can tell, I don't know if they've said it very specifically, it's just like a nice boost to your already occurring damage. It shouldn't be something that like that's the only way you do damage, right?
We got more souls anyway, so we can pop them more. And like it's not infinite, but
you can do infinite builds.
You can do infinite builds with those Hateforges, which is one of the reasons why they're so effing expensive, because you guys got to understand, Voltaxic Rift, when you could do Vol Spark builds, were worth so much money. Like they were insanely expensive. And look at them now, they're garbage. You look at a Voltaxic Rift and you're like, I'm not even going to pick that up. What's the point? Right? Like
Alchemy shards.
Alch shards, exactly. But back in the day, like when you could do Vol Spark builds, purely Vol Spark, like it was the way to go. It was one of the meta builds. It's what you did. Then they're like, I don't want you doing this anymore. I'm done with you just using infinite Vol skills. And then they took them from us.
They usually do that at the end of it, like after a league is done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
yeah, let them have their fun and then take it away.
Yeah,
and then
that's
find new
much-
ways to have fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's one of the things they do. When I read that they did a little secret nerf, I'm like, that's because it was not working as intended. And honestly, whatever. It's like it's never gonna affect me. I'm not going for that. I ain't going for that.
I also feel they shouldn't have changed it because I don't know, just GGG just hates infinite Val skills. So I expected them to just gut the shit out of Hateforge after this league, and it'll be like an average item. average or below average item, because they have a history of doing that. With
Absolutely.
a bunch of items. I think they'll absolutely gut the new ring as well. You seen the
Really?
new Atziri ring with that allows you to have like infinite Val skills?
No, but I
Okay,
want to.
it's the one that it does weird snapshotting where if you put a Val skill gem like Val Spark in your ring, it also applies all the mods on that Val Spark in your ring to any other Val Spark that you have in any of your other links. So
Oh,
that's
it's
like
triumvirate.
yeah, that one. That's mega broken. That's like bugged because it shouldn't be working that way.
Shh,
Like I expect that to get fixed.
don't
Nah,
tell
it's
them.
on Reddit.
Damn it, Reddit! Why would you tell them you're nerfing our builds I haven't even made yet?
The rings are like 60x or something at the moment
Okay,
anyway.
maybe I won't make it then.
I believe, Belle. I know you can make that money.
That's true eventually, but do I want to? No.
Can she make the money and not gamba it?
Yeah.
Needs 6 link shares first.
Yeah, right? Oh my god. The stabs, dude. I'm like, there's no way 2 are gonna poof in a row.
Yes,
Who
way.
do
Can't
I think I
relate.
am? Who do I think I am? Like, what game do I think I'm playing?
POE knocks on the door and says, yes, way, of course.
Yes, of course. There's no way. Oh god. Mhm.
I've had an item not linking 5,000 fusings before, so you've got a way to go.
I would quit.
I was very upset. I was sad. I was sad, actually, and then I had a situation. So I'm like, okay, I have 5 link that I'm running with. I'm gonna do Uba Ziri with Stormbrand because I know I could do it. But I forgot to get a Cybel's Lament, so I had to go buy that. I was at Uba Ziri. I come back to my hideout, portals are gone. I stopped streaming.
No.
I gave up. I was like, I'm done. I've poofed things. I'm done. I was so tired and sad.
Oh.
Yeah, I was just like, well, I'm defeated. You know, poof shavs, no
You
link.
bested me.
Yeah, exactly. It finally got me. It finally did.
There's 2 stages of being in one of those situations. There's the lie on the floor and look at the ceiling, or the lie on the floor face down.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's the first one's the BK stage. What's the
That's
second
Vel.
one?
It's Vel. Vel.
Oh, it's
on
the Vel
floor
stage,
face
okay.
down.
Just
Sometimes
face
you
down
start face
sadness.
up and then you just really realize everything and then you just slowly turn over.
Yeah.
There's like a second wave that pushes you face down. Okay.
That's how I felt. I was so defeated. I was like, you got me this time, Path. I'll be back tomorrow. You know?
That's
Oh,
an
yeah.
abusive relationship, yo.
Going to bed. I'm going to bed. Oh man.
It's like 4 p.m. You're like, I don't care. I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gotta like live.
I opened with Hateforge Nerf, and then I am going to jump to the texture streaming update.
Oh. Excellent.
I want to get local thoughts on this first before we go around the rest of the cast. What do you think of texture streaming? Have you been experiencing significant texture streaming yourself? And what do you think of GGG's most recent statement from Chris about it?
So I have a 3080 and like what's it called, 5900X. So it's pretty good system. And I have like my game on a NVMe SSD, so shouldn't have any problems like loading textures or something like that. And like prior to texture streaming, game ran great. It was amazing. Texture streaming comes in, load times go from like a second to get into a map to like 5 seconds, and then stuff just randomly doesn't load sometimes.
Yep.
Got killed by invisible what's it called, bearer ball things on the ground, and like 10 of them you spin into a pack, go to loot the items, and then 10 bearers pop up, and then a millisecond later you just get clapped by them. People on Reddit have been saying they did it to like console stuff, And then I think Chris's post the other day, he said it was to do with like kind of like future scalability of the engine and cutting down on like something to do with like rendering. And I can understand why they wanted to do it, but like, God, don't add it to the game when it's half baked, which it has been for. Has it just been this whole league, or was it last league as well when they initially?
No,
added
we
it?
had
Still
text
raw.
this. Haven't we had texture streaming since like Heist or something?
Was it highest? It's been too
When did
long
they
now.
bring it?
I'm delusional.
Yeah.
That 4-month
It's
league
bad.
really threw us off counting.
Honestly, my whole like we were 2 weeks into the league. I'm like, so how long we got on this league? because of the way that Heist screwed me out. I don't know. It's weird. That extra month just really did something.
It's weird. I didn't have any issues running the game until this league. And like texture streaming for me is now like a complete hit or miss thing. I would say 90% of the time it's fine, 10% of the time like I'm in a cloud and things are not visible.
The cloud that you're
I
in,
have
though,
no
isn't a
idea.
nice color. It's usually like brown. You're in
Yeah,
a poop,
it's usually
you're in
a
poop
brown,
cloud.
gray, or red cloud, which are not, they're not appealing
Yep.
aesthetically.
A poop cloud.
Yeah, I
I
had
am, like-
invisible barren squares, so I feel you on that local. That was a lot of
Yeah.
fun to run through.
I think I had that too. I had invisible. I think I was fighting Shaper. I had invisible Shaper beam. I just started taking degen. I was like, what the fuck is happening? I saw him out with his little hands out. I was like,
He's like,
oh, there's meant to be a Shaper beam there.
Hadouken!
What?
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
That was
god.
fun.
It
Okay,
just
were you
seems
gonna
so weird and random.
Yeah, I'm the same. It's like 95% of the time it's fine, and then 5% it's just like, I will not display this texture now, even though
Yeah.
you saw it like a second ago. Yeah,
It's
who
not
knows?
even like just if you start the game. Like I haven't. What bothers me is I haven't found a single pattern. Right? It's not all
Yeah.
the time. It's not just after I started the game. It's not certain maps. It's just sometimes it's bad.
Yeah. But yeah, I
BK,
hope
were you gonna
they fix it.
Oh. My bad. Go in.
I was going to say, with the like change to actually properly use like the VRAM on your graphics card, I really hope it fixes it.
Mm.
But I'm honestly thinking that it's going to fix it for like maybe 80% of people, and 20% of people don't have enough VRAM and it just crashes or something like that.
Mm.
This is they
And-
said if your card's potato, it's not gonna fix anything. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, potato cards.
I thought potato cards were doing better with this current system, though, and they were the only ones who were like seeing the benefit.
I think so.
They probably
Yeah.
are because they did this for people who have Path of Exile is one of the very few games out there where you have to upgrade your hardware like every couple years to keep playing it, okay?
Which is
And
outrageous.
it doesn't
Yeah.
look any different, except
And
for a
it looks
couple
any
areas have like some nicer textures now.
I mean,
Yeah, true.
there was a time in my history of playing this game where I couldn't go into Imperial Gardens or anywhere that had rain.
Oh shit. Feels bad.
Oh no. No. You couldn't even do Dominus because it's like rain over there.
Oh,
That's so
My
awful.
FPS would
It's
just
so
stop. It was terrible.
Oh my god. Yeah, they did it. They did it for the potatoes, and I don't understand. And maybe it's me and not understanding how to make a video game in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. But I feel like if other games don't have this problem, why do you have this problem? Like, I know that the game goes through a bajillion calculations on server side and stuff, and they got to worry about like the load. Come on. You know what I mean? I just don't understand it.
I feel like
How-
it comes back to that whole question of like, why are you calculating all of these items that are dropping that no one ever looks at because they've got item filters that cover them? But all of that stuff is causing server load. And I'm just like, I don't understand how these things work. So we're all novices here saying, you're going to
How does
continue to
this
drop
work?
trash
Yeah.
items that we all vendor for scraps.
And nothing makes
Mhm.
it more apparent than the league mechanic too, because you get done with your little ultimatum and there's just like a Stonehenge of bullshit that forms around you.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm in the same boat as Vel. Like, I have no idea how to make a game or run a game or any kind of. I'm basically three-head in a lot of this, but I just don't understand why they still have so much crap just dropping on the ground to load that no one is looking at. Like, no one is looking at all your crap. Your crap
You know
is
why?
so much crap, it could crash somebody's game.
Yep,
What are you doing?
and it does. I'll tell
It
you
could
why.
and does. And when you do those super juice wasn't somebody was running super juice maps and then having someone else pop in on them and then just loot the maps, and they
Mhm.
like you had to go in, grab as much stuff as you could before it crashed your game, and then repeat until you ran out of portals because he had
Um,
I don't know, man.
it's just it's you know why they do it? They do it because they think and they aren't necessarily wrong about it. Yeah, we use loot filters and stuff, but if stuff just stopped showing up, we would have people being like, "I'm not seeing any loot. There's no loot anywhere. Where's the loot?" You know, you just know that people would just get mad that they're not seeing white items they wouldn't pick up anyways because they just want to see something on the ground, right? Like, there's a level of of attrition they would feel even if most of us don't look at that stuff anymore.
But I kind of like for a second, let me indulge this.
Mhm.
I don't mind if not every monster I kill drops something.
Yeah.
I don't mind if some of the boxes and the vases that I open or smash along the way don't have anything inside them. They probably shouldn't. Like, there should not be that much stuff in the world.
There's a lot of stuff in the world. Have you seen the plastic around this? That plastic is on Ray class and it's my garbage and I'm gonna put it in my pocket. Okay.
All right.
It's
That
like
was
that
yeah.
PoE now requires like crisis level benchmarks. You know, how we
Yeah.
saw like compare our computers, like how well they could run
Crisis.
Crisis. It's like
Yeah.
let me run a game that is like 7 to 8, 9 years old
Yeah.
with
It's
my
100% delirious, Matt.
$5,000 computer, and
Mhm.
I crash 6 times a day. It's cool.
It's good.
I've
It's
actually been
cool.
lucky. I've
Wait,
been
is your
lucky.
PC
I
actually
have
worth
like
5K?
the most perfectly average computer because I've had no problems ever. Like heist, nothing with the texture streaming. Like occasionally, like there's something like I don't know if that was like. Sometimes I just die, and I don't know if it was like me being a dumb or if it was like not a texture. But the only thing that I'm like for sure I have not seen is like the heart in that guy's fight. Like I've never seen it. I don't know what people are talking about. I went back and looked at the VOD. I'm like, I don't see a heart. What is this? So like everything's fine, but heart textures, nah.
Yeah, like 100% delirious maps are probably the most taxing thing on my computer.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
I like playing a lot of, maybe apart from like fully like ray trace games or something like that. But like the difference in quality between a game that has like full ray tracing and PoE, where it's just like item diarrhea on your screen.
Yeah. Like you can I was like during the downtime towards the end of last league, I was playing Vermintide 2. It's a very pretty game and I'm like, wow,
Mm,
I have no problem running this
mm.
gigantic game with very, very high detailed textures, but PoE is giving people issues. Okay.
Yeah. Got to render those 200 items that drop from an Elder Temple on the
That's
ground.
true.
Yeah. It's like when I complete a delve node and I see 2 things on my item filter, and then I press Alt and there's 200 things.
Yeah.
I'm okay if there's like 20. You know, I don't need 200 because then even like I was doing. Please forgive me. I was doing some Regal Orb recipe. I apologize to everyone. But, you know, I'm trying to roll some jewels, okay? All right, get off my back. So I'm looking, trying to find all the little pieces of the recipe. I click alt and I'm just like, I can't even find
No.
the rare items I'm looking for in here because they're surrounded in just an absolute festival of shit that I don't want. It's unbelievable.
I will say this. Heist is one of the reasons, one of the things they did in Heist was test out the smart loot. I hope that they implement it further into the game that we currently have, and we don't just have to wait for PoB to,
But the last discussion
please.
about
Yeah, big
smart
agree. I hope
loot,
it comes soon.
the last discussion about smart loot was like, no, that's only ever supposed to be in Heist. And I was like, I remember Chris being
Why?
on Bayclass
Why?
saying like, this is supposed to be the solution to the crap fiesta.
It is supposed to be the solution, is having loot just with not so much, and everything that we get feels a little more valuable.
Yeah, they've said that a few times, right? Where they are
Yeah.
gonna start doing that, and I don't feel it.
I thought that they might have done some this league, but I'm actually just now malding about the league, and it's not true at all. So
Oh, also, I thought it was a massive debate in the trailer when it said like new loot system. And they're like, yeah, you get these two different types of currencies. And I was like, I think you can see me react because I uploaded my live reaction to the live stream. And I read the title card that said new loot system, and I was like, the loot system's gone core. Like, sorry, I'm a faint right now. And then these two fucking currencies I don't care about. Okay, one of them's all right, and the other one is and it said new loot system. And I was like, there's one new currency and one currency we already had, but it's going to be more accessible. New loot system was just a massive misdirect on that. A massive
buzzwords.
This has actually been one of the topics that a couple of other people have been upsetty about their use of wording. I just to get upsetty about their lengthy wording.
Oh, okay. Let's go to the MTX thing. Honestly, the curses, because I think everyone got really upset about this. If I may go first. Everyone got really upset because the wording doesn't mention the free one that you get until you get to the end of what you were reading, and I don't think it's mentioned in the tweet or at all. Like, you have to open the forum post, read the whole forum post, and it's like just a little aside. Like, you're getting one for free. And I'm just like, I get that you're trying to make the MTX sales and they're pretty and we're impressed with the art, but lead with free and you'll get people more interested in what they can buy. I guarantee you. That's my hot take. Anybody else want to go first? A hot take on the curses?
I don't think there's anything wrong with doing MTXs and skinning UI elements for profitability.
Mhm.
I think there's nothing wrong with that, whether it's free or not. Like, if they had killed YOLO Mouse, then sure, uproar. Why get rid of that functionality just to sell product? But they quickly fixed the bug that it was having with the change, and the free one's pretty darn cool. I mean, I like it.
I love the...
But then I also completely tuned it out visually within 3 minutes of using it and had no idea which one I was using anymore. People come in hey, you're using the cursor? I'm like, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Totally. Where is it?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had the problem where I can't find my cursor.
Me neither.
What? But you play Volatile Dead. How do you even find your cursor?
They find enemies for him. He doesn't even have to
I guess
aim.
that's true. That's true. Good point.
Yeah, the point about just think of the optics of making a release post, say free new cursor, and then talk about your paid options, which also, yeah, I'm completely fine with if you want to add that. And GG came back with their tweet where they were like, we're going to add a bunch more ones. What's the community's opinion on what looks the best?
Yeah.
I think that's a great move from them. But yeah, I think it's just the outrage of people being more and more annoyed at like small things getting to them. And this is like another one of those things. It's just
I feel
all
like
bad
It's
stuff.
kind of a classic problem, though. It's like they're like releasing stuff when other parts of the game are unplayable for people, and then everyone just gets mad. You know,
Oh,
realize
but
that
I
these
love.
teams are like completely disjointed. They have no bearing on each other's workloads or anything like that. But like, fuck you guys for putting out an MTX when my computer is exploding every 2 seconds. Is like basically 85% of the posts.
Honestly,
Yeah.
those are my favorite posts. Like, as if the MTX guy is going to be like, all right, I'll go fix the server problems right now. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's like
get on
running
it.
through the hallways. Like, I can do this. I can do this. I can fix
Exactly.
it.
Like
I'm the
slow
one.
mo with some epic music, and then there's a montage of him fixing it. And then what actually
Exactly.
happens is, because he didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah, they totally want the artists directly beside the servers working on them for sure, right? The people who do art and graphic design, we definitely want them on server side,
No, there were
my
some really
God.
good posts about it. I loved Lily tweeted something and I retweeted it because it was good. They were like, "Why are you selling MTXs when the game's broken?" And Lily's like, "To fund the fixing of the game. Like
Yeah,
these
like,
people don't
hello?
work for free." And I was like,
Yeah, like
10 head.
honestly, I feel like now it might just be me and my boomer ways, but I feel like this culture of being outraged to be outraged, and at this point, GGG could come out and be like, "We're giving everybody a free puppy, and we're gonna have a paid puppy, and one puppy's gonna be a golden retriever, and the free one's a poodle." People be like, "What the fuck? I didn't get no goddamn golden retriever. I got," like they're gonna get just all upset. They didn't get a golden. They're getting a puppy. It's a poodle. They're very cool, but they're
And
just
then-
mad. They're just so mad that
Is
it's
this
not the
puppy
golden
gonna
retriever.
fix the server issues?
best
How's
part-
the puppy gonna help
The
me?
best part would
like
be the ones who are like, "But what about the people who are allergic to dogs?"
Oh my
Oh,
god,
yeah.
exactly. Like, I have allergies to dogs. Why no free
No,
hamsters?
it's never the people who have the allergy. It's always the people who are like heroing those people with the problem.
Oh, you're right. You're
This is
right.
so insensitive to people who are allergic to dogs. How dare you?
Guys, my dudes, blind playthrough though. Okay, if we're gonna talk about blind playthroughs, guys. All right, yeah, exactly. I mean, personally, these cursors, I thought the green one was cool. I thought the vol one was cool. I used the free one. I plan to use the teal free one. It's cool. It's good. It's good.
Yeah, the teal
find
one
this
that they
fine.
proposed like matches my branding perfectly. So I'm like, yes, do
So
it.
nice. Yeah, and I mean, maybe there's a chance we won't lose this one. We will. We will.
I'm still gonna use YOLO Mouse. Like, thanks for the free one. I like YOLO Mouse. I
I've
just
never
like
used
how
any
it
of
looks.
them. I don't even know if I could be bothered changing it. Like, I'm just happy. I don't care what my cursor looks like. I went through that phase when I was in year 7 in high school, and they gave us laptops because I went to a private school for a bit. And they gave
Year
us laptops,
7?
and I figured out how to install like an alternative mouse. And at one point, it was a cat with a tail that sort of went like that or something. And then there were like sparkly bits that followed her around. And I was like, man, that's too much bling. I'm distracted. I need to play this
No,
game that
I
already
just
has
need it
enough
to be
shit
bright.
going on.
We were
And like a color that's not what color my skill is. That's all I need.
Mhm.
Really bright color. Different color.
we had a
than
good
others.
laugh about how ridiculous the mice MTX will get, and like talking about like celestial cursor, and then like how it's going to basically harken us back to like 1995 era GeoCities with all of the sparkle cursors on the mouses. You remember how everyone had like their websites with the trailing
Oh,
stars or hearts
I
or
love
whatever the
that.
fuck it was? Like, we're gonna have like fucking star farts all over our screens.
Dude, I did
now.
that on
Just
my
like,
Neopets
Absolutely.
page and it was banging.
Neopets. Oh my god, are they still
Oh, yeah.
alive? Noodle, you've been taking care of them pets.
They are
they're dead.
very
Mine died
dead.
ages
How
ago.
dare you?
You know they're
they're
just
like
bring them
dust
up.
in some server that's been in a dump for 5 years.
I have
I'm gonna
no
tell
idea.
you guys
where-
right now. Your pets are perpetually starving there. Okay, just put them in a hotel. They're desperate. They're so hungry.
Bring that darkness on me, Val.
That's right. My
dare
pets are
you.
also starving, okay? You're not alone here.
I think the mouse thing too was a massive missed opportunity for April Fools. Look, it looks
No, I
so
think
simple
get
to
upset.
implement. It would, and they do their April Fools. Like it should have just.
They stopped doing that though. They
I
stopped that
miss
a
the
long time
April
ago.
Fools. Bring them back, please. Every year it rolls around, and I'm always like, "What's gonna happen? Is please something,
Nothing.
baby."
Probably my
Nothing.
biggest regret in PoE is that I didn't play until after they already did cats when damage taken and cats while channeling, which is the best April Fool's joke I've ever heard of them doing, and I'm very sad.
I didn't get to play the Battle Royale mode. I think I
Oh,
was
missed out
pretty
like
fun,
just
man.
after they added that.
oh no.
Yeah, rip.
I remember being at my aunt and uncle's place and like checking Twitter on my phone, and I saw the announcement, and I was like, "What?" And then I was like, "Mom, we gotta go," because it was Easter or something. I was like, "I gotta go home."
Got your priorities.
That's amazing.
Fuck chocolate. Give me POB Battle
chocolate.
Royale.
It turned PoE into like a jump scare spooky game for me because you'd see like the foot of somebody running by, you'd be like, oh god. Waiting for like
Who's
the
that?
off screen like split arrow or lightning
Yeah,
arrow to
you're-
like just ruin your whole day.
Just running from like chest to chest, like somebody's gotta have split arrow in here, come on. It's the only way I'll win.
The only way.
Mm.
I've heard the new cursor stuff is affected by Texas streaming as well. I'm not sure how much
No!
validity there is to that. But I remember when the post came out, people talked about it. And I found it so funny. If that was actually the case, I'm not sure if it is, or if people were just memeing about it.
Mm.
Oh my
Um,
god.
Waiting for
Say it ain't
your
so.
mouse to stream in.
Yeah.
It's a meme either way. That'd be so
That
funny.
is
Yeah.
truly.
Oh,
All right.
brutal.
I think we've done everything that's sort of important to cover. I will probably wrap up the podcast here, but you're welcome to hang out and we can talk about these viewer questions and streamers quitting as part of the after show.
Spacey.
But for the time being, thank you for watching. All the way to him. I guess we got you hook, line, and sinker, and we'll see you on the next one.